Oh, this will be a long episode. We just started with Nick yawning. That's a
Nick,
great.
do that with
How
the
long?
fucking big
How
face.
long? Because I haven't eaten
did that one
dinner
on
yet.
purpose.
You haven't
Nick,
eaten
do that,
dinner?
Do that one with the big face.
Bro, I got home from work, went upstairs,
Wait,
Oh,
hang on,
shit.
and talked to my friend for 3
Oh
hours.
fuck. Well,
Wait,
we
wait,
got a lot to
ready,
talk
guys?
about.
Wait, look at this. Nick yelling.
Well, this might be a long podcast, which
Nick's
I mean,
over
Mark hasn't even eaten his dinner yet, so he's gonna be kind of hungry after this one because we have a lot to
I
talk
will.
about.
That's why
so-
Nick's so tired.
Yeah, we're gonna be
tired
talking about
because I worked
Overwatch
for 12
2.
hours.
Tired because I haven't eaten dinner yet.
Yeah, eat your vegetables.
I
Otherwise,
do
you'll
eat
make.
my vegetables. They're quite.
Like a good
quite
boy.
tasty.
Like a good boy. But yeah, I have a list of just topics here for Overwatch 2. It's gonna be a long episode because there's a lot of there's a lot. Well, I mean, the first one we have is 5v5, and that is unbelievably loaded. That there is so much to 5v5, and like I do want to say before we start, like I want to say that it is like impossible to judge the community feedback on this sort of thing because I feel like so many like people like on Twitter are like really mad, or like there are people because I upload a video like of a compilation of a few like streamers' reactions, and some of the comments were like, bro, pro players are whining and fucking bitching about all sorts of shit, bro. This is so much better for the game. Like they're always complaining, or like what I'm trying to say is that it is impossible to judge community feedback. I don't want to hear people going like, well, the general consensus seems to be like it's a good thing. It's like it is impossible unless you like get like every single person who plays Overwatch to give like their opinion on 5v5. Like if you it's impossible to judge it. Like, oh, I saw on Reddit people seem to like it. Well, what about on Twitter? What about on the YouTube comments? What about like it is impossible to judge how people like what percentage of people feel about this.
I also feel that like the few people that do come out and are like, oh no, this is a good idea, like this could be cool, they just get so flamed that other people who are like, oh no, this could be a good thing, are terrified because they don't want to get flamed themselves.
I mean, is there anyone sorry I mean,
No,
is there anyone else? Is there anyone here before we get into this? Is there anyone who is a hard yes or no on this, like good or bad, like already? Like, well, I want to say, yeah.
I'm the one who plays the role that's getting cut.
Yeah,
so.
Nick plays tank.
Well,
But
I play it too, Nick. I play
Nick plays off tank. Nick plays off.
Nick is mainly off. Or Nick plays like all the tanks.
But Mark plays some off tank. You know,
I play more. I mean, I don't. The only one I really don't play is Diva, but I do play off tank.
He sauces on Zarya.
Specialist.
And yeah, Monsters plays everything.
I'm a hog connoisseur. I will say, Roadhog is my most played hero.
I mean,
So
we'll get to
my
that. Yeah.
my thing is, it depends on how, if they plan on making more changes to the way the game is played. Like, if they plan on it being more of like the MOBA style, like blah blah blah, like kind of like really super heavy team-based combat, then the main tanks are almost always going to be the ones who are going to be the ones to stay, because you need a main tank to lead the charge. But if they want it to be more of like a skill-based like duelist shooter where you have just characters that have abilities, then honestly off tanks who can duel characters better would be better. So it depends on where they want to go. And also probably is dependent on map geometry and stuff like that. So I don't think the whole thing about, oh, the off-tank role is dead is not necessarily, I think that's not necessarily true, because there are some situations where you probably just want an off-tank.
Well, wasn't it said, I'm pretty sure it was said recently that they like want to bring it back to like early Overwatch roots, where it was based on like being this really unique hero shooter kind of thing, where now the game has evolved into this more MOBA thing, and it's incredible. Like, it's really, really incredible to watch like the best of the best people play Overwatch, because it's so intelligent. But the game still started out at, I think they want to bring it more back to the Overwatch 1 roots, and there's just like, if you think about the PvP stream, they literally dropped 5v5, talked about passives a little bit more, and then maps. They didn't say basically anything about how the game like plays or what we saw. So I still want to hear more. But if we're like talking about how we feel, I am on the side of, I think there could be a lot of potential, and I think changing the game in a fundamental way could be really good as long as they figure out how to make certain heroes not complete dog shit. Because from what it looked like when in the compilation you made, Cary, when like Avast was like, well, let's look and see what the Diva and the Reinhardt are doing here. Literally fucking nothing. If they're changing that, and they figure out how to make everyone fun to play, then I think there's a lot of potential here. Okay. I don't think this is a negative. I think this could be a really good thing. We just have to hear more.
Yeah. I mean, like, the thing is, what I didn't like about it was the fact that they literally says, we're going to make it 5v5, which implies that, like, the game is going to be completely changed. Like, all the tanks are going to be essentially reworked, and yet they show 5v5 gameplay of the tanks in their current state, which, like, is super misleading because the people are obviously like, yeah, this is shitty as fuck. Like, why would you ever run Hog as your main tank against a Reinhardt? Like, well, like, this is Overwatch 1 Ryan and Overwatch 1 Hog. Like, you don't know what Overwatch 2 Hog and Overwatch 2 Ryan are going to look like, and so those tanks might, like, Overwatch 2 Hog might be way more viable in 5v5.
Well,
so, like, that's what that's what I don't like about that. On top of, like, the players weren't that great, but that's not against them, but it's just like they're showing Overwatch 2 gameplay with Overwatch 1 heroes. It's super misleading, and I get why people were confused, but it's like the game is not going to look like that whatsoever.
I mean, well, some of the tanks had their changes. Like, it was definitely at least what they envision right now for Overwatch 2 Reinhardt. Like, he had the cancelable charge, he had the freaking power steering, and the
Ryan
double
was the
fire
most fleshed
strike.
out.
And Winston's got the scatter arrow now, but I don't know. When it comes to 5v5, I saw it, and I saw everyone was freaking out. I was like, oh, interesting. I'm kind of impartial. I don't even know if it's like I don't know how to feel about it, or I just have no feelings about it, because it's like I think it's like they've talked so much about PvE that we're all like, oh, all the big changes are coming to PvE, and it's basically just gonna be like a big expansion, maybe with a couple of like new designs and some reworks for some of the characters for Overwatch 2 PvP. But no, it's like this is like the fundamental change that from here on out is going to change the way Overwatch is played. And someone, I think it was you, Cary, you mentioned like, oh, well, now all the tanks are basically going to get reworked. I mean, I'm assuming that, like, a lot of the heroes are going to get reworked, even if it's something as small as like Mei's primary fire doesn't freeze anymore. It just does more damage. But it's like, I wouldn't really consider that like a whole rework. It's more just like, what are they gonna do for someone like Roadhog? He's still just gonna be a fucking bullet sponge, right? Obviously, yeah, I know tanks generate less ultimate charge now with the passives, but like this dude's literally just gonna get lit up at all directions. If you don't have a shield, and then you don't have another option. What is it? You're gonna have a Brig shield him? Is that what you're gonna do? You're gonna have a Brig
increase the size of Brig's shield. Yeah.
Just to another Reinhardt shield.
I mean,
it's just I don't know. I'm kind of with Marc. It's like I think some people are having extremely bad reactions to this, and good reactions. And rightfully so in a lot of situations, because it is such just like a crazy change to just get dropped on you. But I think it's just like, I don't see why everyone's judging it so much. We've seen 3 maps of 5v5 with like 3 heroes with new abilities. It's like, wait till they actually rework a bunch of the heroes, and you can see what like real Overwatch 2 is going to look like, rather than just like Overwatch 1 with like new Reinhardt and 5 people. You know what I mean?
Overwatch 1.3.
We've also been spoiled with the Overwatch League. Again, like what Nick was saying, how the game has become so advanced in terms of strategy that on an Overwatch stream, we just see like dog shit Overwatch players, like casual people playing the game, that people like, wow, this is like no crazy shit's happening, this and that, like this gameplay is horrible. Like, for the casual player, the only real indication of it, like the devs can say whatever they want, the only real indication of how this game is going to be is once we get our hands on it. And then for the people who like the league, obviously we want to see how it works for the pros. But I think a large part of the reactions from people depend on what you play. like obviously the tanks have been the biggest people with like, oh, off tanks are being deleted, like so obviously a ton of off tank players are like, this is horrible, this and that, what I've worked for. Like obviously some of the owl players are like, well, what do I do now?
Yeah.
But I still think, yeah, I think we need to see Overwatch 2 before you really make any judgments, because we've seen Overwatch on Overwatch 2 maps, like you said. So I think we need to see a lot more.
It is a shame though that we're gonna be missing out on the tank synergies, because that's like a thing that like really sucks. Like the Ryan Zarya, like Winston Diva, and maybe or Sigma.
Echo will be meta always.
Yeah, like I saw. I think it was like, I don't know, Uber. So one of them was like, bro, Echo players just gonna copy an off tank just to relive 15 seconds of glory, where you had 2 tanks, and that's it.
Dude, I think it's funny now, because it's like the whole focus for Overwatch 2 was the PvE, but now I genuinely, maybe it's because the PvP thing just happened, I genuinely just feel like no one gives a shit about the PvE anymore. They're like, yeah, cool, it's gonna be fun, I'll play it.
That's what the next stream is gonna be, PvE.
Explain 5v5 to me, you know what I mean? Like, people, I think now it's gonna change. It's like everyone was like, yep, it's just an expansion, the PvP will be the same. But now it's like, we've seen the PvE, it's gonna be story missions, it's gonna be fun, it'll be cool, play through it with your friends, it'll be funny. But then, like, go run through a blizzard in Toronto.
Yeah.
And Storm. But then now
all
the focus is shifting to fucking PvP, and it's gonna be very interesting to see what they choose to show.
If you think about it, though, it's like, if you think of all the stuff they have to do, like they're dropping. They showed 5 maps today, yesterday, whatever the stream was. Like
Rio, Monte Carlo, New York City,
Paris,
Toronto,
and Rio. Toronto and Rio.
Yes,
and Rome. Sorry, Rome. So they showed 5 maps. So
Paris.
Minimum. So they're probably making what, 6 or 7 maps. So for Overwatch 2, they're making like what, at least 6 maps or maybe 7 maps, whole new maps. They're designing like what, at least 3-4 characters minimum.
There's a brand new game
They're
mode.
reworking some of the characters. They're adding a new game mode. They are adding a whole story mode.
Yeah, adding hundreds of hours of PvE content.
And like, I think I'm missing something, but yeah, like they're just adding like new heroes, new map, like they're adding a ton, and like
this game will be immense.
Yeah, like it's gonna be really like big. So like I don't know if people like realize how much, like, why it's gonna take so long. Yeah, I think like, yeah, I don't know, but I mean, like, another thing is I don't know how people, especially like with the whole, like, it seems like for casual players it'd be better, because then it gives you, like, it makes you have a chance to have a bigger impact. If there's only one tank player, if there's less players, then you can like play the game better. If it's only like 5v5, which, like, it feels like the majority. Okay, I literally just went back on my own tracks. I was about to say, it feels like the majority. It feels like the negative response is coming from like the hardcore esports side. I almost went back on my tracks at what I said at the beginning, but like, I don't know. It's just, it seems like for the casual player, it would just be a better change. And usually casual players, they don't really care. They're like, well, I'll still play Overwatch. I like the heroes. The heroes will be cool. So
the new heroes are probably, I'm interested to see if like the new heroes that they introduce, I want to see like an Overwatch 2 new hero.
Yeah.
And see how that differs from heroes in Overwatch, and maybe that'll come with the reworks too.
I want something fucking insane. Like, I want them to release some like
another ball, like another wrecking ball character.
Not even wrecking.
No, like a Sigma at launch character, or a Brig at launch character.
I don't even mean broken. Like, I want them to add like a
so
5-star difficulty for like how hard they'd root it to play. Like, I want some
headshot only
that they just make absolutely insane. Yeah, it's just a sniper that only
does
headshot
only sniper. It's like they have like 50 health. It's like, you gotta be really careful of your positioning there.
Something that I actually just thought about, and Cary, you've mentioned this before, specifically about the tank role, because this is something like that happens in Overwatch constantly now when you have 2 tanks. And Cary we've talked about this, like the jobs of the main tank versus the off tank. The main tank creates space, and like the off tank, it's the off tank's job to like try to keep that space and like guard that space from like any like flankers, or just like in general, like just try to hold on to that space either by protecting somebody else on their team in some way they can. But with now that you only have one tank, it's the only tank's job to do all of those things, which like, so I guess the tank is a main tank and an off tank, which makes their job a hell of a lot harder, which like means like honestly it depends on how like the tank role does get fleshed out. Like if they are just like brawly, like everybody, oh, I just want to run in and kill people, like I kind of hope that's not how it turns out. I kind of hope it is this really like complex, like you like, I mean,
you know, like Ryan can just give himself Zarya bubbles. He's just a goat character on one person.
He throws out his shield like Captain America and he's just
he
like
kills someone like with like a frisbee.
Tracer literally like
Yeah.
gets fucking decapitated. Torb gets split in half.
But I think I saw a little bit of the gameplay, and there were people flanking all the time. People were trying to flank all the time because they know that there's no off tank to have to worry about maintaining and watching off angles and stuff like that. Unless the person who is the main tank is a diva who then is the off tank and is holding those angles, then it's not that hard. Then it's a lot harder for them to take space. So
Yeah.
I mean, even for something like push, they've literally said a million times they're designing all the maps. They want it to be like
There's so many
flanky as hell, and
like
they
each
want
building
it to be
has a window in Toronto.
Yeah.
Like it's crazy.
But also the one thing that you have to, I just listen to like what the devs say. The change from 5v5 from 6v6 to 5v5, it allows for more like carry potential. Not even just by the tank, just by anybody on the team. So it was like kind of back to the whole casual player thing. So now maybe someone can just dominate on Reinhardt, like as them. Like then if it's a Rein diff, it's literally a Rein diff because guess what? There's no other tanks to help him.
Even like with
but
DPS too. Like
yeah,
there'll be less
anybody.
shields. So yeah.
Hell, even your freaking Mercy, if she wants to just whip out the Glock, she could probably just start popping the hell off. You know what I mean? Because with less people on the team, it's gonna play so differently because it's a lot more individual based rather than just like, super team based. But
I mean, like
I think Overwatch 2 is going to be a lot more chaotic, though. I mean, from what we
think?
saw. Well, I mean, yeah,
there were two separate people.
Let's say you play ball, right? Let's say your team's playing Ryan, the other team's playing ball, and the ball's off doing stupid ball player shit. I'm just gonna pick Widow and just shoot at the back line, because guess what? No one's there to protect them, and there's so many spaces that I can fly to or do whatever. Because these are how the maps are being built. I'm gonna do a crazy fucking flank on Widow on push, and no one's gonna fucking stop me.
Dude, Widow's gonna be busted at launch, dude. With like max.
With no diva, there's no off tanks.
Yeah, no diva, no like unless you're playing like
Widow,
Winston
Hanzo,
or diva.
any one-shot potential characters, which
and there's less shields.
Is it just Widow and Hanzo? Yeah, without shields.
With the mercy damage,
can be pretty crazy.
Yeah, but yeah.
Well,
because there'll be less shields.
They also said that they're still like tuning numbers and they're trying to figure things out.
They're gonna make Widow do 85% less damage just for.
I never understood Widowmaker being overpowered though. Like, yeah, she can one shot, but like.
But she is purely skill based.
Skill, you have to hit it. Like
You have to aim, and even better Widowmakers can take one. I mean, look at the pro level. Better Widowmakers can take 1v1s and literally can just pop off from anywhere. Where like a casual Widow like will hit some good shots, but their positioning's probably shit, and then as soon as they start getting punished, they're not gonna react. They're just gonna keep trying to get picks, and that's how even if they die every single fight, but they're getting 2 or 3 picks every fight, it doesn't matter. It literally doesn't matter.
And actually, that scares me at the same time. I don't know if they've ever mentioned anything about like hacking or anything like that, but this is actually something that I came across last time I played Overwatch with some of my teammates, because I have top 500. I do have top 500 teammates, and they've played at like a really ridiculous level. And one of my teammates, we played in a match in a diamond game against a hacker, and he was like, "Okay, literally do this, stand next to me, pocket me, and I will kill this Widowmaker. He's literally hacking, but I don't give a shit." Because his positioning is shit, and he took advantage of him, and we almost won the game against a fucking hacker. But the worst part is like, and the reason that Overwatch 2 scares me for that reason is that was the tank's jobs to protect and make sure like give our Widowmaker position to help somebody in that situation. Like I was playing Diva. I was literally standing in front of him and DMing him the entire time and allowing my teammate to kill the other Widowmaker because he was hacking.
But I feel like that's not even like that's just like an issue. Like in like if Overwatch is an FPS game, hackers are gonna like have an advantage. Like, could you imagine hacking in CS:GO? Like,
no, I understand that. But the thing is, you take away part of the ability to help. That's some of the reason that I love the tank role is because it gives you the flexibility.
It just creates balancing issues. What you mean? Like, it's just harder to counter. Like, especially with like if you run Ana Zen, if you don't have a diva to peel for them, how the fuck are you gonna play Ana Zen? Like, it's impossible. Like, so like it's an issue. It's up to the devs to figure out how they're gonna balance that. Like, so like I think is that what you mean? Like, it just creates so many balancing issues without an off tank to peel for like anyone.
Well, yeah, yes and no, but like the part of it that I'm nervous about is if there's angles everywhere, and just in general, like it sucks because no matter how mechanically skilled someone was in Overwatch 1, you still could win with better game sense and positioning. But I feel like they're taking some of that away and giving it more to mechanical skill, which I respect, and it's more enjoyable to watch, and for the DPS it's more enjoyable most likely to play. But as a tank player, it takes away so much from me because the way that I win and the way I'm successful is through great positioning, and putting myself in the most advantageous position to allow my team to get value or allow myself to get value. But the thing is, if I can only be so many places at once and someone is just flanking me and popping 3 headshots on my backline and I had no idea they were there, what can I do about it?
Yeah, it seems like a balance. I mean, I think that might just be it's up to the devs to figure out like how to balance that properly, like giving the tanks something to do. Because like there were 2 separate people that I think it was Flats and I think like a Vast that said like this just felt like 4v4 deathmatch with a tank.
Yeah,
and on top of the fact that the DPS players move faster too, and the tanks are just like in the middle of a school of fish, and they're like I can't, I don't know what to do.
It seems like the game is going to be a lot more DPS focused, and that they want to bring it back. Like, oh, these are the characters that sit and shoot at people and that run around and kill people.
Yeah,
we want the DPS also, to be the main focus.
The map design as well, like. The map design seems way more focused for 5v5.
Yeah, your Reinhardt can't get up on the roofs of Rio, but like half the roster can.
That is so tiny. The Rio, it's like a fucking narrow ass. It reminds me of the original Temple of Anubis choke point. Have you guys seen that? The original like point B. If you're attacking point B in Temple of Anubis, the original main choke was like the width of like Bastion. It was just a tiny ass corridor, and it was the worst fucking thing. But like, I don't know if they're gonna rework some of the maps for Overwatch 1 because the game is 5v5, the fights are quicker, which changes like where you take fights. Like think about like King's Road, like all right, we lose point A, we can take the first fight on that corner, like everyone knows that corner, and well shit, now like we could probably take another fight sooner, but like it's so like I don't know if they're gonna change any of the maps, and again that's just more fucking work, which I don't blame them if they don't do that, but it's just something to keep in mind because like again like it just completely changes so many aspects of the game in terms of like the heroes, which heroes are good, even like the map design, so it's like. Which is, again, why I don't like the fact that they showed Overwatch 1 heroes with Overwatch 2 gameplay.
Yeah.
It's just weird.
I just don't think they have enough people finished.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
To show off, like...
So hopefully they'll show us, like, here's the reworked Orisa. Here's the reworked Reinhardt for Overwatch 2 that will make him... Or, like, here's the reworked Hog that will make him comparable to Reinhardt.
I really don't think that's going to come till, like, towards the end of the year.
Yeah, it seems like it.
Like, they talk so much about the PvE, and now they bring up the PvP where it's like...
We're also doing this.
Wow,
like, you guys forgot about this.
It's like, wow, this game really isn't finished. And that's fine. Like, people just want to... I think this game is, all again, like what you've said, what Preston said in the past, where, like, they announced it so early.
Which I don't like.
But
they kind of had to. They had to.
I don't want to say Overwatch was dying, but people were like, we need more stuff on Overwatch.
They had to announce it, which kind of sucks.
They had to do something because then it immediately shot some life back into the game, but now people have wanted so much and they've delivered so little.
I think it's also because like they announced Overwatch 2 and then people are like, this just looks like DLC. And I think like they're shit. We got to put more into this game, and then they put on way more work, and they're like, sorry.
No, I don't think they ever were like, oh, we have to do so much more. I think they were just like, wow, people really don't understand what we're trying to do here.
Yeah.
But now, I mean, everyone's waiting, and the game's not going to come out until next year. And everyone wants it, but they're showing these things, and it's like, wait, but there's so many things we don't know. It's like, yeah, well, there's so many things that aren't finished yet.
Yeah. I mean, they
And
said
that's exciting because that means there's so much they're still working on and creating for this
yeah.
game. Hopefully.
Yeah. Well, they're going to be sticking to like a. They said that they're going to be like releasing information every other month. Hopefully every month, but like that seems a little too much. Like honestly, like in terms of just like presenting information every month, like that's only like you probably only have like 3 weeks, you know, because the last week you're actually presenting it. So I think every other month, if they drop like an hour or 2 hour long live stream,
Yeah.
I think that's great. Or like maybe like here's some of the PVE. I don't know. They could even drop a PVE mission. I don't know.
Just show us a mission, yeah.
Or just like save the stupid, or not stupid, but save like the hero, like the new designs and stuff.
The stupid
Or
shit.
like
All of them, do
save
those all in
smaller
one
things.
live
Yeah,
stream.
save like smaller things like that, and be like, hey, we're having like, or like there could be like an AMA on Reddit again, and they're like, and they just like put these out on Twitter or whatever, and be like, oh, here's some of the stuff we've been working on. They release like a couple smaller things, and then like every other month they have that like 1 to 2 hour live stream
Yeah.
of like juice.
I don't know. It's just like the more I look at this game, it's like this thing is rumored to come out around like May next year. So that gives them fully like what year?
Either May
like-
next year or like fall. Actually, no, it's not. It's not fall because right, Mark, you said that Blizzard Activision wouldn't want it to compete with the new COD game.
Yeah,
So
they
it has
wouldn't
to be
release
May.
I don't think they'd
Q1.
release it Q4
If it's
like
not,
holiday 2021 because
It's not gonna be finished.
if it's
I
not
think
May 2022,
Activision Blizzard. Well, look, Activision Blizzard. I think they're smart enough. They don't want a cyberpunk situation, and again, they don't want to compete
Yeah.
with COD unless COD is shit.
Which
but
it
they're
always
not-
Is, but you know.
With an article I was reading on IGN, I think on why
Got
like,
'em.
a ton of people are leaving Blizzard is because like they don't have a ton of big releases. Like Diablo 4 and Overwatch 2 are like their big upcoming things. But besides that, what have they done? Like a World of Warcraft expansion, like a re-release of this and that. Like these are their big IPs that they're working on. And I don't think like I hope that Activision won't be a shitbag and they'll be like, look, we need these games to come out, but they gotta be bangers. So I hope they're gonna actually like give them all the time that they need.
yeah,
But I also respect the Overwatch team for not saying anything about a release date. As frustrating as it
Yeah.
is, they're like, we're setting expectations in terms of what's
it's
going to
ready.
be in this game.
It'll come out when it's ready. Like that's like
Exactly.
their whole thing.
They're like, look, you may have to wait longer than you want, but we want when this game launches.
You want another Cyberpunk, buddy? You want another?
Exactly.
fucking-
Do you want this game to be bussin' at launch? Then you gotta wait.
Do you want a pog when you open up that fucking Overwatch 2 game or not, huh? I mean, well, Nick,
If you
there's
want to see
other
an Among Us
options.
character shaking ass on the main screen, like we can give you what you want, but but one's gonna make you wait a little
We're
longer.
giving Among Us game mode. That's gonna replace 2CP. But Nick, there is one thing that I want to ask you about with the toxicity, because one of the questions was like, if there's only one tank, that might increase toxicity. Because imagine you load into imagine little Timmy loads into his Overwatch 2 game, and then the one main tank fucking insta-picks ball, and you're like, well, shit. And so like that like and also if that tank isn't doing so well, that's your only tank, so it might increase toxicity. And like the devs are just like, well, we're trying to like not have that happen. And I think that's the best you could do.
You
Like
can't stupid proof a game like Overwatch. That's impossible.
You stupid proof any fucking multiplayer shooter, dude. We've proven that.
yeah, I mean that's just people.
My problem is people always will find something to complain about. And people always will find something to complain about, and I can definitely see where people are coming from with the fact that there's only one tank. You know, like, if you feel like there's specifically something that you're losing at, that it is that tank's fault because it's like, say your team can't take any space. Oh, guess what? Who's the only one that's its job to take space? The tank. The tank, not tanks. And so it is easier to target somebody, and that sucks. But at the same time, like, I don't really know, because I'm assuming they have plans to do something about that.
Yeah.
Because They would not be a good game company if they didn't realize that their game is toxic as fuck.
Yeah.
They would not be a good game company if they didn't realize their community in game is ridiculously toxic and they need to do something about it. Like, didn't you say something about Valorant recently about how like there's or something?
They're
like
recording voice chat to combat toxicity. Yeah.
Yeah. Bro, I just honestly just take report. Well, not take reports because then there's people who are like, oh, this
Just
guy's
don't talk in voice.
No, it's so hard to balance, and I honestly give a ton of respect to dev teams who can do this properly, like when it comes to managing like toxicity and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Because like you can monitor games all you want.
People be
But
people. Like it's just the anonymity.
Well,
the fact that it's
people are just-
anonymous,
people
like
are
you
just
can
ass-
just
people are just assholes. Like
there's no repercussions for what you say because like no one, it's online, so like no one knows
especially
who you
when
are.
most people's answer is just, oh, okay, my account got banned, I'll just make another one.
Yeah.
Also, but feeding into what we're saying, one of the questions that your Overwatch asked was like a rehaul or like an overhaul to the scoreboard and stuff.
Oh yeah.
And they literally said, yeah, we're not as a like team, we're not
you
really committed
imagine?
to hiding people's stats.
Could you
So there's a
imagine, bro?
potential that tank's feeding their brains out.
Healing received.
Exactly, or just like
healing
shit like
received.
that. So like, oh, the tank's feeding. It's like, bro, you're just fucking feeding, and then you just be like, look at my healing received stat,
Yeah.
0.
Oh, that's gonna be
So that could also lead into the whole toxicity thing with tanks, and depending on what the stats are, some people might just baseline instead of like, well, I have dude, you're talking a bronze damage like right now, like it could go from that to fucking, well, I only have like 100 received versus our fucking Symmetra with like 4,000. So there's definitely there's a problem there. But
Yeah.
I think if they implement them well, it's like, is that going to cause toxicity? Yes, but at higher levels of the game, is that important to see? Yeah, that could be very important to see.
Well, my thing also is, and I feel this way about Overwatch right now, people rely too much on their stats. There's so much utility that doesn't get counted in stats. Like, yes, damage blocked is a stat for tanks, but how you block that damage is more important than how much damage you block.
And what damage you block.
Yeah.
Moss, you're talking and nothing's
You're muted.
happening.
God damn it! You could block 15 bajillion damage, but you can still get shattered every time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
People just will find ways to like not blame themselves. Like they'll be like, "Well, I have better stats, so it's not my fault." I mean,
No,
that's just
gold
people.
medals need to go away. Medals need to go
medals
away.
is
No, more medals.
more of them.
medals.
Every single
No, make
stat
more
has a
medals, but
medal.
for bad people. So every person on the team gets a medal. Oh,
Can they make a
your
medal
tracer?
for deaths? Please, I want a medal for deaths.
They had so when you push tab, you see this. You saw the stats. I think they might have removed it at this point, but there was like a circle.
No, they did.
And there was like a hole where the medal would go, and there would be gold or whatever. And there was a circle next to death. There was a blank gray circle. I'm like, oh, I assume there's a medal for deaths, and there never was. But I just assumed that there was because there's a fucking gray circle. I'm like, well, does gold deaths mean I have the most deaths, or is that like the least deaths, which is a good thing?
And I genuinely hate medals. I think
a lot of people do,
it makes it so much worse because
They don't mean anything.
they don't mean
They
anything.
don't.
They genuinely do
Unless
not
you have
mean
gold.
it.
Unless you
Okay,
have gold, they mean
okay,
a lot.
Unless
Unless
you're
No.
gold, then you're a fucking god gamer.
then you're
No.
a god gamer.
Except for objective time.
No, the stats themselves matter a little bit, but still.
But objective
as much.
time trumps all.
It's just a blanket. I get what you mean. It's just like a blanket statement, you know. It's like, oh, I have gold damage. It's like, well, I mean, you're on Sim.
Yeah.
And I hate it when everybody was like, "Oh, I have gold damage." Yeah, guess what? You're going off by yourself, trying to click on some heads.
You're
they
shooting
run
at
away,
the
get
tanks.
healed.
You're
Yeah,
shooting at
well,
the tanks. Of course, you have gold
either
damage.
shooting at the tanks or just running in by yourself and doing as much damage as possible. Then people run away, get healed, come back at you, and kill you.
They're just
It's
gaming,
like
you know.
you have a Zarya with gold damage, and you're like, "What the fuck, guys? Our DPS is so bad." It's like you deal so much damage.
You are supposed to have gold damage.
I'm sorry that me on Junkrat isn't gonna out damage you, but oh my god.
Also,
It's-
I don't.
It makes
sorry, go
it
on.
so bad. It makes it so bad, and the fact that they make it more hero shootery, like if they make it more independent player base, that makes it honestly so much worse. It might make it so
Really?
much worse.
COD,
Yes.
scoreboard, COD, scoreboard, COD, scoreboard, COD, scoreboard.
That's
I see my
honestly
fucking KD on Winston. I want my KD on Winston. That's
Like-
what I want, baby.
like if you're just getting completely mopped, if someone on the other team is a DPS and they're just mopping the floor with you, it's nothing. You can't do, like, you don't have any competent players to do anything about it. People are just straight up going to complain. Oh, I'm doing the best. I have the highest stats right now. You guys need to pick it up. Well, guess what? I have the best positioning. Blah blah blah. I think the fact that it's more like, if it's a MOBA, if like not agree. I think like when it's more MOBA style and you play more as a team and it's more team reliant based, it's not someone's fault. It's the team's fault, and you can't specifically target somebody out if they die. Like, say somebody dies in the middle of a fight, it's probably contributing a bunch of people. Maybe the tank didn't shield that person enough. Maybe that person didn't use their abilities correctly. Maybe they didn't get enough healing. But it's a team effort. If someone's off by themselves and they get picked off just because that's how the game plays, then it's just going to be like, oh, that guy was off by himself and he died. Fuck you. I think that's going to make it way worse.
Fair, but I think to combat that, I mean, like the dev said, they're giving the tanks, they're trying to make them more brawly. Like, trying to make them less of, a shield to stand behind and more so like they can hold their own in a fight. So it's not just like the tank is always the weak point. You know what I mean?
I also don't like that mindset. I don't like make the tanks more brawly. No, I like the tank's utility. That's why I like the role.
Tanks are more fun if they're more self-sustainable, I'd argue. I think it's just like the problem, at least in my eyes, and maybe it's a role thing and I'm also not like a huge tank player, so I wouldn't get it. But like when I walk out of a corner on Reinhardt and I get hacked, stunned, slept, frozen, and just melted in about 1.2 seconds, that's not fun to play. Okay? But if Blizzard's gonna change up the heroes to allow like a hero like Reinhardt to have more of his own utility, to make him be able to like, I can walk around that same corner and I can still go toe to toe and still be able to, have a fair fight. Obviously if it's a 1v5, it's not gonna fucking make sense. But you know what I'm trying to say? It's like, they're trying to like, even though the game's gonna, it seems like it's going in more of a direction of like, oh, DPS and, blah, 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 blah. The tanks are still, they're trying to just, the thing is, tanks themselves can be overpowered. You know what I mean? But because they're so hard to balance because there's two of them, if you play like base Sigma with like old Hog, it's like that shit's gonna be bussin', you know what I mean?
1.0 Hog.
But it's not gonna be fun to play against. If you think about it, Blizzard is technically, they can make, like the devs can make tanks kind of overpowered. You know what I mean? Because there's only one of them. And because there's only one of them, these tanks themselves, like as a hero, can be very strong. But just because they're that way, like, yeah, it'll help them compensate for there being one less tank. But I mean, you still get a dogshit player, they're gonna get dominated. But you know what I mean? You know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah, and I guess I understand what you mean, because there are people and there are tank players who want that mindset. Like, if you ever see a Hog player, he's like, yeah, I just want to play DPS.
Time to
even though I'm
frag.
in the Hog."
If I
Yeah,
swap to DPS,
and
I just lose.
that-
If I go DPS, nothing changes except I lose half my
There
health. Like,
is
that's all that changes.
And I don't have a hook anymore.
Yeah.
There is a reason that the only tank I don't play is Hog. I don't like his utility. I like the utility of, honestly, one of the most satisfying things is somebody behind me popping off because I enable them.
Nick's a purebred tank player. He doesn't stoop down to the levels of fucking Roadhog.
He's holding right. Nick enjoys holding right click and holding S. He does not enjoy holding W.
And
Because
But Nick, like, what makes you think that will change in Overwatch 2?
Because the idea that, like, oh yeah, they just want to make the tanks just beefy DPS, so you can just walk, if as Reinhardt.
think
They're not
that's
gonna
the
do
mindset.
that.
I mean, if you think about it, Roadhog already is a beefy DPS.
But I don't think they're gonna make it like just a bigger DPS. Like, I think it allows the tank to be more specialized if there's only one of them. Like, they can make a very, they can hold the very special role in the team compared to like off tank, which, I mean, off tank a lot of times is just a bigger DPS, like Zarya or Diva. I guess Sigma.
No, that's not necessarily true. Go ahead,
no.
Marc.
The off tanks deal most of the damage. Obviously, the best of the best, it's different. But at a casual level, if we're playing Rein Zarya, I promise you, 9 times out of 10, I'm gonna have more damage as the Zarya. I'm gonna have slightly better stats or whatever as a Zarya, but
Zarya, yes, it's Zarya. She does the damage. I
Um,
understand.
I just there, and like this has also been brought up, but with only one tank, that one tank gets the focus, gets the resources. Like I think playing around that tank is gonna be incredibly interesting. And again, this comes to the reworks where like you're not gonna play Reinhardt or like ball into a Reinhardt. You're gonna get fucking dominated. But they're just giving the tanks the ability to not be dog shit and to like if you're the only tank out there, you want to feel like you have impact. Where like
And you will.
in certain metas like Orisa Sig or whatever in Double Shield, your Orisa is there as the staying power, where your Sigma is the one who's really gonna like your Orisa will clean up, but your Sigma's gonna like deal some damage and like his ult's gonna have real impact and his utility and stuff like that. But they're trying to put that into single heroes so you can still feel like you're having that incredible impact while also giving your team something to play around.
Yeah.
I think playing too aggressive is still going to be something that's very easily punished as a tank. But they're going to allow you... I think the game in general is going to be a lot more aggressive and a lot less passive, where
Fun.
there are certain comps. Yeah,
A lot
fun,
more
if you
Fun is
will.
the word. Well,
No,
I mean,
I don't
okay,
have fun holding right click. I have fun holding
You
left
know,
click and holding W.
When I play
Like that is what
Orisa,
I want to
I'm
do.
just playing Bloons Tower Defense Simulator. I mean,
I have fun pressing left shift and doing a point and click adventure on Bastion.
yeah.
I guess I have an unpopular opinion. I guess the way I stand for it, I personally care more for the utility and allowing my team. And like I'm not saying that that's not gonna be a thing, but if their goal is to make tanks more brawly and allow them to be more self-sufficient, or just in general be like
They have to.
Well, they have to because there's only one. Is that like the thing that they're doing? They have to
I don't know
because
if Brawlies. I mean, I think they actually use the word Brawly.
they
but I think like
straight up that's what they
Yeah, I
said.
think a
They
better
said
way
that
to
for the off tanks.
They said that just
Not
I
as
think
much
it's for
main
tanks
tank.
in general.
Oh,
Because like again, like the way the Overwatch team thinks of tanks, they just think of them as tanks. So when they made Overwatch, they never saw it as main tank and off tank. They just called them tanks, and the community themselves made the separation. But I think like a better way to visualize it maybe is like you have off tanks and main tanks, and sometimes they do similar things, sometimes they do different things. But there's a point in the middle that I think the Overwatch 2 team wants them to be, and the goal is to try to get off tanks and main tanks to this middle ground where they kind of become just a tank. Like you don't refer to as an off tank or main tank, just call them a tank. And what they do is something that I think the off tanks are trying to become, and something that the main tanks are trying to become. And they're just meeting in the middle of what a tank is for in a 5v5 situation, which again, like I think ties into Overwatch League, because I don't know why off tanks are complaining, because like you have no idea how the game's gonna be balanced. Off tanks, like again, I mean I say off tanks, but it's like in the future they will just be called tanks. You don't know if D.Va is gonna be strong as fuck compared to Rhine. Like the Dead team is trying to make all the tanks viable, so like I don't know why off tanks are thinking they're gonna be out of a job, or main tanks think they're gonna be out of a job. Like I think off tanks are more mechanically gifted, so they might succeed. Like main tanks, the main tank is the less mechanically demanding role compared to off tank, and so like if a main tank has to end up playing D.Va, that I mean then again I say D.Va, but we don't know what Overwatch 2 D.Va is gonna look like, so it's just like we like legitimately have no idea, and and like speculation is fun and whatnot, but it's like it's really hard to actually determine what will happen. Because like, there's so many changes going to be on top of 5v5. Like they're reworking a lot of the heroes, which again we don't know. They're changing like the movement acceleration. You can no longer AD spam as often, and like you have no idea how it's gonna play. And all this with new maps. Like we have no idea how it's gonna all come together to form this Overwatch 2 that like we have no idea like what it's actually gonna be like.
Yeah.
So
And
I mean,
you're right. I want them to be careful because, like I said, the one tank thing does scare me a little bit. It scares me a little bit.
At least Q times will be lower.
tank Q times aren't
What
really
is-
high.
Tank Q times already aren't low.
They're instant. They are
Which
like
is-
instantaneous.
No, but that's the thing. When people were saying that, like, oh, this change will also help queue times, I was like, But like, I don't think
For who? Like
tank,
DPS?
yeah,
Because you're gonna make
I
more
heard
games, I guess.
I heard multiple people say that, but I was like confused because at least I don't know, for like our rank, which is like the majority of our not the majority of our players, the majority of actual players in like gold and plat, tank queues are fine. So like, I don't know if like, I mean that wasn't the main reason.
I don't think it's a tank. I think it's meant for like everybody else queuing because nobody wants to play tank.
Yeah,
but, like, if
I
you do
think
want to
so,
play
yeah.
tank, you can find a game and literally like at the speed of fucking sound.
Yeah.
Like it's
Well,
easy.
And the other thing is actually relating to that when it comes to like queue times or anything like that. It's just if the game becomes more DPS focused, it's gonna make the DPS queue times worse, way worse, because everyone's just gonna be like, oh, they're focusing on the DPS. The DPS is only a fun role. Let me just play DPS.
Well, if they succeed in trying to combine the utility of tanks and obviously in making supports fun to play, not just you having to deal with getting bullied by DPS, like I think DPS is obviously very intriguing and everyone's gonna want to play the new heroes, but I think tanks, even if they only release like 1 or 2 new tanks, right? Like with the launch of the game, if they like put basically like the DPS, you don't have to rework, like I know they said like some CC things, so like McCree and obviously May, but like if they are like genuinely reworking a lot of the tanks to make them work in Overwatch 2, I think it's going to be incredibly fun to play those tanks so much and try to figure out like their new utility versus Tracer still goes into the back line and still fucks people up. Like that is, it's still Tracer. Like, what it is, where Hog could be a completely different hero basically. So I think there's going to be, I think there's a lot we need to know, but I don't disagree with you. I think if DPS becomes like the commanding role, I think everyone's going to want to do that to have the most impact. But if the dev team succeeds and tanks have serious impact on the game and you can really feel like you're just swagging out on people, then I think that'll be a big draw.
I also don't understand why the Owl pros were like frustrated that the Overwatch 2 team didn't tell them earlier or didn't come to them. Like, one, Overwatch 2 is not coming out for a very long time, so they have plenty of time to like plan for this change.
Yeah, I think a year is a good notice.
And two, like, was that sarcastic or like do you actually mean that?
No, I mean,
yeah, like it's plenty of time. It's plenty, and also two, like there's only like what, like 100, 200, probably like 150, I'd say, people on the Overwatch team. So that's the number of people that know that Overwatch is going 5v5. They're not gonna tell 300 plus players, coaches, and managers about this. Like the potential for leaks would go through the roof. And also, what feedback are they gonna get? Of course, the Owl players are gonna say no, don't make it 5v5. It's like, thanks for the feedback. Like,
thanks for you haven't played the game yet.
Like,
you know nothing about what we're doing.
Yeah, they don't know what the tanks reworked are gonna be like. So of course, obviously, yes, in this situation, in with Overwatch 1 tanks, 5v5 is garbage because why the fuck would you go Hog over like Winston? But the tank is gonna be Overwatch 2 tanks. So, we've been talking about this for 48 minutes. So I think. To summarize, let's all just wait to see what the tanks are gonna be like before we judge anything.
I'm just saying I'm scared.
Understandably. Like, I don't think there's anything wrong with that. Yeah. Okay. We'll touch on the maps. I don't know if you guys have anything to say about like the maps specifically, like New York City or anything. I think like
they're cool.
The fire
Rome
truck is cool.
Really nice.
Rome is really cool.
Really nice. Yeah.
I think Monte Carlo there could be some.
Yeah, Monte Carlo, dude. The verticality with the road. That, I mean, it might be hell to play, but it looks cool.
It does. Oh, it looks super fucking cool.
Yeah, it looks cool.
I really like that part of the map. Like, that is like a part of the map where I could see like, oh, it forces some kind of characters, like it forces some kind of compositions.
But that's every map. I feel like at the pro level, like you can.
I think
like at gold level,
need to just like we need to run around because there's so many things where like you would see like last point Monte Carlo. Like,
that was
like when Avaz said he's like, wait,
kill zone.
What the fuck is this?
Kill zone.
If there are legitimately like 3 tiers there, then you can just put like a Torb, an Ashe, and a Widow, and guess what? Someone's gonna fucking kill you.
This is ungodly. Whoever designed this last point.
Exactly. So but we don't know. We don't know if like one of those levels is just purely for show, for design.
It just kills you if you try to go up there.
But I think most of the other maps look pretty cut and dry. I did like what they said were like a lot of the maps, there's like some very specific choke points, but then a lot of things like New York, a lot of things are very, very wide open. And then on Rio, there's a lot of very tight corridors. But then Last Point, it looks kind of like Dorado Last Point, but still there's so much high ground and so many different ways to go. It's crazy.
I feel like
it's gonna play into the chaos, I think.
Well, and that reminds me something of specifically in Overwatch 1, like that I do and don't like, because it reminds me of Junkertown. You know, when you go to Junkertown, it's so open everywhere. Like literally,
Right.
I feel like you have to play completely different. Like you're not playing the Overwatch that you play on all the other maps, because all the other maps have confined spaces. But like you play Junkertown, everything, there's so many
point
angles.
A. It's mostly the first point.
Open. But if that's like the philosophy I guess, is like they want everything to look open and they want there to be a lot more angles, it's scary because Junkertown A is terrifying sometimes.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if like it'll be that bad.
It's like that's the first thing that comes to mind, like when I look at Overwatch 2, like in their philosophy with the maps that they've shown. And then that's like the most comparable thing that I can think of to that we have. And
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, that's also scary.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, like again, like that's the thing where it's like it could come into play with the tanks. Like if you run Widow, how is like your other tank gonna try to deal with it or whatever? So like, yeah, it's tough. But I think like the maps are cool. I mean, we still have one more that we haven't seen, the Gothenburg. We haven't seen gameplay of it. We've seen footage of it. And I think that's it. I'm sure they're making like at least one more map, maybe two more.
Yeah. Well, how many maps is Push gonna have? Like 3?
At least three. At least three minimum.
Like 4?
Well, when when Overwatch 1 dropped, all the maps, all the game modes had 3 maps. So minimum Push needs to have 3. Which we've had Toronto, Rome, and we don't know the other one. New York was hybrid. So I think there's one more Push
New
map.
York was hybrid. Rio was hybrid.
Rio was hybrid. Rio was hybrid.
And then Monte Carlo was Escort.
Escort, yeah.
Well, which is fine because when asked, "Oh, are you reworking the other maps?" they're like, we can't say anything about that right now." You can imply that they're gonna change a couple things, so that's fine because I think for a lot of
Paris, maybe
a lot of game modes we could have a lot of stuff on.
Yeah.
Like we could, I mean, some modes we could have 5, 6, maybe more maps. And then I think after, like, if they get back into somewhat of a cycle like they have in Overwatch 1, I think the focus will be more maps.
I think also with the 2CP maps, they said that like they're gonna obviously we'll still be going to the 2CP maps in PvE game modes. There'll still be like Temple of Anubis in PvE, but I think like we might. I think Aaron Keller said that like repurposing the 2CP maps for other game modes is really difficult, which is fair. Like how would you turn Hanamura into an escort? Like it's basically
that's a short fucking escort.
You're just making a new map. Like you're just making a new map. There's no point. So like I think he said somewhere what they plan to do with the 2CP maps. Maybe have them in like at arcade just to have them, the game mode itself. But at least in quick playing and competitive, it's not going to be there, which I think a lot of people like. I was fine with 2CP. I never saw an issue with it. But I get why people hated it. So
I'm
in the same boat.
I
don't mind 2CP.
Yeah.
I don't.
Okay, so we'll go on to I don't know. I mean, we have the push game mode. Specifically, push game mode. Any like thoughts on that? I know you guys. I mean,
that game was long. That shit long.
It is long because the robot has to go from one end all the way to the other side.
Mm-hmm.
But it's just like kind of like tug of war.
Like those games are gonna take for like if you look
they're
at
like
a push
8
game,
minutes long.
You're gonna be there for a while.
Well, Overwatch. I mean, most Overwatch games are like 10 minutes. Yeah. So
unless you're playing a 7 to 7 2CP.
Or unless you're playing Total Mayhem, that shit lasts for hours.
But yeah, I mean, it just seems cool. It's just another like game mode where it's like, it feels more deathmatchy than the other ones. Like it's almost like the control point is moving. I mean, it is, but it's almost just like King of the Hill, but the point is constantly moving.
Did they say anything about King of the? Did they say anything about Koth or no?
I don't think they're gonna change it.
There's
not much.
They haven't even shown a single thing about it.
Oh right, yeah. I mean, I imagine they're gonna maybe drop one
new control map.
one new control map just cause, you know. But I don't know. That might
Push,
be.
I think Push, I think, is a game mode that they want to live in Overwatch 2. And I
Yeah.
think, again, we still don't know what Overwatch 2 means, but we've talked about how, like, Overwatch 2 heroes are going to be different, or hopefully will, at least in terms of tanks. So I think that, like, it's going to be a more chaotic game mode, but I think once, like, the tanks are fleshed out and you actually see it play out like Overwatch 2 is supposed to play out, I think that's when we can make a lot more judgments on Push. But I'm also not surprised that they're not releasing like 5 or 6 maps for it, because I think they want to see how it plays and they want to see the general feedback, and that if they have to change things, that they can then just like work on what they already have instead of having to scrap a ton of work and make it over again.
I mean, also if people like if Push comes out and everyone's like, man, this shit ass, you know what I mean? It's like they don't want to have like 6 Push maps in the works, you know what I mean? It's like drop it with 3. If people like it, you roll out more maps. That's kind of how it works. It's like people don't like 2CP. When's the last time you saw a 2CP map introduced to the game? Paris?
Yeah.
We still had successful that one.
I mean, I think it's weird though why
Why
they made Push with a robot. Like you could have just had like a payload that pushes it. Like out of all
Robot is
things,
it's
they made a
character, it's,
robot
like,
that like it's like fully animated. Like it's way more work to animate the robot.
It's
It is
fun.
Just, no,
It's
I know.
fun.
I just think it's like so much more absurd than the other game modes. But it's also really interesting how like I remember Sajo said that like the robot Push might be the best game mode for Overwatch League because the direction in which the robot moves is a great visual indicator for how momentum shifts in a match. It's like if you're new to like the NFL or like soccer, just follow the ball and you'll know. Just in Overwatch, just in Push, just follow the robot and to see who's winning. That's all you have to do.
You can see how much on each side it's gone. Like you can
Yeah.
tell who's won.
Yeah, which is nice. I mean, it's a symmetrical game mode, which I think will be easier to balance, or like it's not a thing where you're attacking. It's even like on Escort, like I hate attacking on Dorado. It's like, well, the map's symmetrical, so you don't have
We
to.
also didn't get to see it, like, especially on Rome, we didn't get to see it push like super far
Yeah.
towards the ends of the maps. And I think that's where the game can get like really fun, or like really crazy, where it's like an overtime push towards like the end of like towards your spawn, and you're just flying out of the gates trying to stop it. Like I think that could be a lot of fun,
Mhm.
or extremely frustrating. But
We don't
we'll
know.
see.
I mean, it's also cool how like because usually like because the robot's in the middle and it's symmetrical, so like it will come out in either direction symmetrically, and like in Toronto it's like an S shape where like the robot follows like an S curve all the way to the end, but like in Rome they diverge and then they come back, like, which I think is really cool how like, so I don't know what other like symmetrical designs that the dev team can come up with, but I think it's cool how like they're just not making every map it's just a curvy path that the robot takes, where in Rome it's like they come out and then they actually converge, the two paths come back to each other, which I think is kind of cool. Or maybe they could like change elevation, which I mean I don't know if the devs have programmed the robot to be able to push up slopes, but I don't know, we'll see.
That'd be cool.
Okay, I
Like
mean
he just goes up a fucking building, like in New York City,
Yeah.
just starts walking up a fucking building like Spider-Man.
Now there's also, I mean, we touched on it before, but the May Winston changes. The May change is something that I don't see why they couldn't add it in Overwatch 1. And like I kind of get why they might save it, but it's like, well, I don't know.
May's reign of terror is over.
Yeah, like that's just like a straight up
Actually,
good change.
Did I miss
Yeah.
that? Did I miss
It makes
that
her
one?
alt feel more
Which one
impactful.
is it? The May? Do you know what
May
it is?
change.
Where
Her primary fire doesn't freeze people anymore, but it does do more
it
damage.
just does damage now, yeah.
and slows them, but
Yeah.
they don't actually.
It never
the only
fully
thing
freezes.
she can only fully freeze with her ult now.
Yeah, which is, I mean, it's an ultimate, so. But
I mean, this might be like a for technical
Ultimate.
thing, but do you think like it's gonna be like one set rate, or it's gonna be like May, where like the longer she freezes you before you freeze, like you move slower and slower?
I think, but there
I
has to
think
be
it's gonna be just like a set rate, or it's
I think-
gonna
but
be
there
like
has to be a
set
limit.
rate of time.
there has to be
Yeah.
a limit to how slow you'll go.
Yeah.
Because then at some point you're just
But then it's
essentially
pretty much just
immobile.
like freezing somebody.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. That's
But
generally
the
good
Winston
change.
was fun. Now you can no scope. Winston, they literally gave Winston a hit scan ability. So now you can literally jump up with your blast pack, 360 in the air, and actually no scope someone. You can
Dude,
hit
I've
'em.
I said this before when we were watching the stream the other day. Widow goes up for a shot, hits a body shot. Winston goes up for a 720, domes him, and finishes off
No,
the kill.
that's
If
how you
that is
count-
not exciting Overwatch, I don't know what is.
That's how you counter Widowmaker. If the enemy Widowmaker does a jump shot, like, oh shit, you jump up. And you fucking nail her with the
No
with the
longer as
electricity.
Winston do you have to dive on the Widow. You can now dome the Widow from distance.
You don't have to.
You can out-duel a Widowmaker.
Yeah. I mean, we don't know how much damage it does. I'm sure it's like not a crazy amount. It's like not like 300 damage.
It would be like a burst thing.
I keep thinking in terms of Overwatch 1, but that is scary if like they keep all the jump pack things, because now you can still do the railgun thing, shoot somebody in the air, then get a taser in before you land, then punch and get the ground impact.
They said
do,
that
like,
on the stream where it's
500
like,
damage.
yeah, like you can just straight up just actually Goomba stomp somebody because you like you'll just do so much damage on top of the melee, on top of the landing impact, and on top of your hit scan, like your electric hit scan. So like
it's a railgun, right?
I feel like that could be a
I think
nightmare for
I don't know
supports.
I don't know what
it's
the
just a
ability's called.
charged Tesla shot. That's all.
Yeah.
It's not a railgun. A railgun would like fucking blow somebody's head off.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
wait, isn't that what Sojourn is supposed to have?
Sojourn-
Yeah,
Yeah.
Sojourn
Yeah.
has a railgun.
Which
I
I thought
think
we were
she
gonna
will be killing
see her.
people.
Hopefully we'll see her at some point. Just like
No, I thought that was going to be the one. Like they were
Yeah.
gonna bust out Sojourn. She was going to be in every map the whole time.
yeah, I thought
And
we
I
would
think
just
they were
see
going
all
to
of
just
her
show us like a
abilities.
little bit of her each map.
Yeah.
That would have been sick.
Well, I mean, I have the Torb redesign. I don't know if anyone has any like what the other redesigns could be. I mean, at this point, we've seen them. We've seen McCree, Reaper, Widow, Pharah, Rhine, Mercy, Tracer, May, Lucio.
Genji. I don't think we've formally seen Genji, but we know what his redesign
Right.
looks like.
Yeah.
Seen Genji. They played him in the game, and that was
Yeah.
his redesign model.
We've seen Soldier. Actually, no, we haven't seen Soldier.
Soldier hasn't been redesigned.
We saw his
yet.
picture, but that's
I'm pretty
not.
sure you named all of them. Like
Yeah,
the only
and
tanks
Torb.
they did was Rhine. I think Rhine's the only tank they've done so far.
Give Ryan back
yeah.
his helmet.
Winston.
Which actually, that might be
was it
because.
new Winston or old Winston? In
What do
the
you mean?
games.
It was
Oh,
like playing like kind of new Winston, but it looked like
Well,
normal.
they
the
didn't like
model's old
officially reveal his new model, I guess.
Yeah.
But I think honestly, I may be looking too far into this, but like maybe the reason why they've only finalized Reinhardt's Overwatch 2 model is because they are seriously reworking the tanks to the point where like maybe like I don't know, Arista like she doesn't have the bongo on her back anymore. Like it's a completely different ultimate or something like that. Like
Yeah.
we're like it's such a drastic rework that the model itself slightly changes. Like that might actually
She
be a
has the
reason.
bongo ability now.
It's her E, just drops down a
She
bongo
actually pulls out bongos and starts playing them.
and soothes the
It's
enemy
Donkey
asleep.
Kong 64, baby.
No,
to get the
yeah, and if
debuff.
Winston is on the
Fucking
other
Donkey
team,
Kong
Winston
jungle.
just sits there and claps his hands.
The actual straight up debuff to Winston.
Monkey
Yeah,
mode.
instead of giving May a freeze ability, you give freaking Orisa an ability that makes people dance, so it's pretty much like they're frozen.
Yeah, pretty much. Okay, I mean it's just cool. Like I mean
Yeah,
I think
Torb
at some
looks good.
I think they'll just sprinkle in the new hero designs throughout, like in each live stream or whatever that they do.
Yeah, I mean they spent way too long on it. It like even it was just a couple minutes, but like they were talking about it for a while, and it's like that's awesome.
I feel like
These are
you-
like short videos that you release on Twitter or
like
like on
spend
the
that.
YouTube.
Well, I mean, like spend at least like 3 minutes on it. Don't just like drop it and then like, well, that's it, guys. Like,
No, yeah, but they were
Like,
literally
yeah,
like
Torb looks
no,
looks
but they were
great,
talking
guys.
about like the hero designs and stuff for like 15 minutes, and it's like, look,
Yeah.
this is a PvP stream. Like,
I
this is
really
cool.
think your new engine and this cool like fabric painter tool is really awesome. But let's keep it pushing. I don't have all this time.
Show me gameplay.
and
Show
so
me
also
Winston gameplay.
they had this wasn't even on like the actual stream, which is interesting, but it was like later revealed in an interview that so I just want to read out the word for word because I don't want to like get out the wrong information. So they said that they're going to be reworking Bastion from the ground up. That's the words that they used. And so they said that like they said that his recon mode weapon, like his Bastion 76, the recon mode weapon is going to be getting a big upgrade. And as for his turret mode, that they're going to be increasing his mobility a little bit because they still
Yes!
like
Flying Torb.
Let
they-
him move in
Like,
fucking turret form, baby.
because like they said that they like the fact that with Bastion the trade-off is I can't move but I'll put a ton of damage. They like that trade-off, but they want to give him a little bit of mobility. That's what they said. And they said that, however, like completely removing his mobility has proved to be a bit too harsh of a penalty, and frankly, it's not realistically possible to balance him with this downside in mind. So they're actually letting him, they're testing letting him move in Sentry mode, albeit slowly, and also making his weapon less deadly. So like, I mean,
baby.
this is just obvious. Like, I feel like Bastion, like it's like Viper in Valorant, where it's like Viper was a launch hero in Valorant, Bastion was a launch hero in Overwatch, and very quickly the devs realized that, oh shit, like this was a miss. And so like Bastion is, they've reworked him. Well, not reworked Bastion, but they made some changes to him to try to make him more usable. But like, he's always kind of existed in the background, which is fine. Like, not every hero needs to be meta, but like, it's fun that they're at least like paying attention enough to Bastion.
The thing is, the reason that they probably didn't want to do anything to Bastion to make him ridiculous is because that would be bad.
Yeah,
a lot of people would despise that.
The shield, give him the shield again.
Okay, so speaking as the primary Bastion
right,
player here for this group, I actually didn't. I knew they were reworking because he told me, but I didn't hear that. His normal primary weapon is good, because I'm gonna be honest, unless you're in turret form, you're gonna lose every single fight as Bastion.
Yeah.
Like, his primary weapon, just with the recoil and the spread, is just fucking awful. Like, if you're trying to finish off, a 40 health, other hero, sure, you might be able to do it because the first few shots are relatively accurate, but it's just like, I don't know, the reason that I would always die, I'd rather die in turret form as Bastion, just like fucking storming the beaches of Normandy, like being overrun by the enemy, is because that's like really the only way I feel like Bastion's effective. And like, everyone thinks it's toxic, but it's like, if I run around as Bastion 76, I'm not gonna do anything. You know what I mean? It's like, I can heal myself and run around. The turret mode is basically where he gets all of his value. But the biggest issue is like, if I even just want to like fucking reposition slightly, I gotta get up out of turret form, which takes forever, and then
it was
like,
longer. They made the animation shorter like 2 years ago. It used to be longer.
In the time it takes for me to literally just transform into turret form as Bastion, I literally could eat like 5 storm arrows and die. You know what I mean? Like, it's so slow. So now, if they give me that option to just sit in turret mode and just allow me to, like, quickly, like, pull back or, like, hide behind a wall so I can self-heal, you know what I mean? It's like, and it's just like, they don't have to, when I heard, like, Bastion Rework, I didn't want them to just, like, completely change the way the hero is, change the way he's played, because he's fun as hell. I don't care if people think he's toxic and is a stupid no-skill hero. I still gotta aim at these people, and I'm gonna boom the fuck out of these kids on Bastion.
Well, I'm not gonna lie. I think that actually is a really cool idea to make him like a transformation. Excuse me. Like
make him
he's like
a tank.
He's like a transformation based character where it's like, as Bastion really in Overwatch right now, like, you're in turret form. You get your value in turret form.
Yeah. You get a mercy pocket. You sit in turret form behind a shield and you shoot it.
And guess what? And you can't move. But like, I really like the idea of like, he has a lot of usefulness in both of the forms. It's a situational thing you have to be able to identify. I agree. I actually love that philosophy, because instead of turret form, shoot shit. I don't like that philosophy. I like, okay, you can be at turret form. Yeah, you move a little bit slower, and the animation to get out might be a little bit longer. But do you need that damage, or do you need more mobility, or do you need like more utility? Blah blah blah. I think that's a really cool idea.
And I'll take the trade-off in damage to mobility, depending on how much it is. I mean, if you really think about it, Bastion, like, yes, he does a lot of damage at once, but like, outside of a certain range, like, his damage falls off completely. You know what I mean?
What he looks like, you look at that, then you expect him not to do a lot of damage.
Yeah. It's just, I don't know. I'm okay with him like nerfing his damage a little bit in order for him to move, but like, if they make his damage too low, then he's just still gonna be terrible.
Yeah.
Even right now, he's fucking terrible. Why do you think the most kills I get is when I have an ant matrix? You know what I mean? Because you have that extra damage.
Did they specify like, oh, his damage is lowered or something when he's moving, or just like universally in turret mode?
I think it was just in turret mode, where it's like, oh, actually, no, I don't know. I think they
because
just said
if he can like still light people up, but then let's say like when he's moving, like his rate of fire goes down, so like his damage will go down. I think that's perfectly fine. And then he slightly moves to reposition or whatever, boom, immediately starts outputting damage. Like I think Bastion, yeah, I think like Nick was saying, I think it gives him a little more survivability. And like Moss was saying, like you can't win a duel. I think if it comes down to the point where like you have to get up and like reposition big time, but you also have to be able to defend yourself, like having that better weapon, it just increases, it makes Bastion more fun to play when you don't just have to sit there and turret. And yes, booming people is fun and getting crazy 4Ks because all of the team resources go into the Bastion for some reason. But having him viable for both just makes him a more fun hero and makes him viable in general.
The cool thing about Bastion is basically it's just 2 weapons in one. But I think probably the biggest issue with balancing him is like his turret form is supposed to be stronger than, like a soldier, like soldier's pulse rifle, you know what I mean? But like if his primary fire is also stronger than soldier, along with being able to be in turret form, which is just so much damage, it's just like if they make him too powerful, then it's sort of like there are other damage heroes that are probably more viable, but it's just the raw damage output that Bastion can do. I mean, obviously, the biggest problem that I think we don't see Bastion much at the high level is because he can't move. Get a fucking good echo to just throw some fucking nades on him and he dies. Like you see Fletta's epic play the other day in Overwatch League. He walked out of the spawn door. He got hit by a rock and he fucking died.
It was a good play.
That's my reigning MVP right there. But I don't know.
And he was moving during that time. Yeah. And he still died.
I think the Bastion change is a good for me. Just please don't make him dog shit.
I think
Overwatch.
It's funny.
Which camera do I have to look? Do I have to look into this camera? Please don't make Bastion bad, because then I will be sad.
It's funny. Whenever you say whenever the devs say, "Oh, Bastion might be able to move a bit," so there was that one workshop game mode where I think you guys might have played it, where just they made it so Bastion could move while he was in turret form, right? As in just slide around. Yeah. And I know obviously when they're gonna be reworking Bastion and letting him move, there's probably gonna be some cool way to do it or some animation or whatnot. But I just think of just them nah, make it super lazy, and it's just Bastion just on a turret just sliding around the map, just killing people. And that's all they've done.
They bring the nano speed boost back, so you nano speed boost the turret Bastion.
He just
Lucio amp it up, and he just fucking turn in a deja vu drifting around the corner, just the tracking and just gunning people down.
That's all I think of. They just slap on the rework label, boom, there you go, boys, boom, Bastion rework, and he just moves around and he just slides along the floor in turret mode.
Blackout. But deja vu, and it's just cutting him flying around corners in King's Row.
There's no animation.
He just hovers.
There's no sound effect. There's no visual indication.
You have no idea if he's moving or not until you're just fucking dead because he's flying around.
He's just drifting around the streets of King's Row, just gunning down people. Okay. I mean, they also if you want to, I also have just the other reworks that they're gonna mention. I swear they said they're also gonna take a look at Sim and Bap. That might have been just me, because I swear I saw a source that said they're gonna do that, but now looking back, I can't find it. And I think this is genuinely a good time for Nick. Nick and I have had this conversation I think 3 times at this point, but I think it's good to have it just on the podcast, because it's the topic of Lamp.
I do not think Lamp is healthy for the game.
Yeah.
I do not think it's a
Nick's also the same guy that thinks bracket resets are good for
Overwatch. Okay, I mean that's a different thing. That's a different thing. I don't think Nick is unfounded in his argument, because a lot of people don't like Lamp. The fact that it just makes you invincible. I think Marc just went to get something to eat because he said he hadn't eaten dinner, and that we've been recording for over an hour. Go on.
I don't know. I think of Sim and Bat. It's they already reworked Sim once. It's just
I think Sim is fine. She's getting played at the Overwatch League level.
She's and obviously just super niche, but that's okay. You know what I mean? It's she's good on some. I I don't really think a whole BAP rework is completely needed because
I don't think so.
you know, he's got a 3-round burst, right-click heals. He's got his own self-heal in the jump boots, which I don't think any of those are a problem. Literally, the only thing people hate about him is the immortality field. And it's like, I mean, what can you do? Make it so, like, people, you either get rid of the minimum damage, make people take less damage inside of it. It's just like, either you get rid of it and replace it with a new thing, or just, like, people are always going to be unhappy with it in one way or another.
I mean, they might
you know what
do
I mean?
that. I mean, I don't know. It's like the same thing with Hanzo's Storm Arrows, or like with Hanzo's Scatter. Like, people really hated Hanzo's Scatter Arrow, and so they ended up changing it, just that ability, which I don't know. It's not really a rework. It's just they're changing a single ability. But okay, well, let's just, like, Nick, this explain why you think, like, Lamp is bad for the game and shouldn't be in the game. Wait, I want to explain to Mark. Mark?
Yes.
So we've had this discussion before, but we're gonna have it just on the podcast for we're gonna be talking about Bap's Lamp. So just Nick, sorry, go on, sorry.
So
Nick has plenty to say about this.
yeah, I personally don't think it's healthy for. I personally don't think it's healthy for the game. So you have support. You have supports who have dedicated support ultimates. Beat Transcendence. You have those dedicated ultimates that are dedicated for counterplay or for aggressive pacemaking plays. And I personally don't think it's good for the game. And I kind of agree. I kind of feel the same way about Mercy Res. I don't like massive cooldowns that are as impactful as ultimates, because they might as well just be an ultimate, which is what Mercy's Res used to be, and that just wasn't, obviously, not healthy for the game either. But like, just massive cooldowns just for something that's that powerful, I personally don't like it, because it takes away some situations of counterplay. Like, Cary, you said before, like, oh, there is counterplay to Lamp, you can destroy it. It's not that simple. You can't just destroy the Lamp all the time. And in my opinion, it's not. I just don't think it's healthy, because I think the ultimate counterplay and the ultimate game is such an important idea in Overwatch 1 that giving a character an ultimate on a cooldown every fight, then you can use sometimes even twice in a fight if your team is bad and almost dies the moment the fight starts. Just giving them something that's that impactful on a cooldown, I personally am just not a fan of it.
Well, like, what do you think, like, when you say, like, counterplay, like, a lot of ultimates, like, are you saying that, like, you think ults should have counterplay or not?
I think ults should have counterplay. I don't think, like, say...
Ults already have counterplay, though.
Yeah.
That's what I mean. Ults have like smart uses. Ults have smart uses of counterplay. Like, say you're D.Va and you use defense matrix because you
I wouldn't
read
even
the
say
shit
that's
out of Zarya.
counterplay. I'd just say that's
It's like you
smart
get
ultimate usage.
yeah, it's like you get grabbed and you pop a sound barrier, you know what I mean?
I'm not going to use my grab until... But then it's also just like normal play. I'm not going to use my grab until we get that D.Va out of mech. Or let's push the BAP really hard so we can either kill the BAP or he drops Lamp, and then as soon as that happens, I'll grab or I'll try to drop a shatter. Like, obviously, at the highest level, BAP players are trained, and most of the time they know and they're smart with it. But at our level of the game, which is where we play at, even the smallest amount of pressure, and I know this might be different because you play with really good people, Nick, but
Like me, my BAP is fire.
But,
I use Lamp on cooldown when I play
but,
BAP, I'm gonna be honest.
no, but
when he
like,
takes damage, Moss is the Homer Simpson, and just starts just busts down his lamp.
but like, no, but like, yeah, it does not take much, to pressure that out. So, I think like ultimate counterplay, it's just smart ult usage. Like, it's what the game was. It's just game design. Oh, big ult comes out, that's where the support comes in, or like this. Like, that's the counterplay you're looking for. But Lamp, yes, it's strong, but I still think that having it in the game at the lower levels, maybe it's worse, because it's like you literally just negate mistakes. Where at the top level, maybe at the end of the day, it's still used for the same things, but it's used in the right situation. So I think that's
I
where
just don't see how it's
that's where
like
there's a big divide.
unhealthy for the game, because like lamps get the shot down all the time. It's only 150 health. Like there are tons of times where it's like, and like even in Overwatch League, where teams will throw down the lamp, and the lamp won't even it won't even be cleverly placed. It'll be just in the middle of everyone else, and it just
Yeah.
gets destroyed immediately. And like even
It's
like
enough to keep someone up for
Yeah.
like just a couple seconds to get him healed up.
and then even then like it doesn't, like for the example I've used before is grab dragon. Like if our team gets grabbed and I know they're gonna grab dragon, like people are like, oh dude, your lamp is just as good as Lucio Beak, you'll survive it. It's like, well, sometimes like I'll drop the lamp, but we're all exiting the grab. Now we're exiting the grab with the 5% nerf. We're exiting the grab at like 30 health, and either we all die, or we
Or
have
you
to
drop
back up
another
so,
support
or
ult.
we have to back up so far that like we give up so much value, and it's basically like we just lost the team fight. Like I think like especially with the 5% nerf, when now Bab's lamp keeps you at 5% of your health pool. I think that nerf is now like, I think lamp's in a pretty good spot. I wouldn't be fine. I'd be fine with nerfing it again. Like I think lamp is still a really strong ability, and there's nothing wrong with nerfing it. But I think like I don't want to change the core idea where it's like it keeps you invincible or keeps you immortal. Like some people,
It's a good show.
a lot of
Invincible,
people,
it's a good
a
show.
lot of people are like, you should make it so lamp reduces incoming damage, and it's like, well, like
That's useless.
at that point you have to like change
People
the ability
can do
name.
a lot of damage.
Yeah, like
So, sorry, go ahead.
no, I mean that's all I have to say pretty much.
So I guess actually I didn't even think about it. I think I might have said this before, but I don't like the idea, and Marco said it like probably is worse at lower levels, like of erasing mistakes. That's the problem that I
Yeah.
have with Res as well. I don't like, oh shit, something bad happened, get out of jail free card. Like those are the situations where I think it's the worst. And that's the reason that I think it's the most unhealthy.
But I think with
Because-
Mercy's res, there's tons of counterplay to it.
You
Yeah,
kill
you
her.
could just
kill
shoot,
her.
just shoot the Mercy.
And also
She
the
can't
amount of
move very
the
fast.
amount of CC in the game plays literally, it's like just walk towards her and stop her from doing it, or just camp the res. Like, or if they're gonna commit to getting the res, they then have to commit bubbles,
Lamp,
or maybe they have to commit a lamp to keep that Mercy alive and get the res. But a lot of the time, Mercy will go in for a res, and unless she's valking, she might get the res, but she'll probably die in the process.
And she gets it off, and that's like the team's fault. Like there are plenty of times where
Exactly.
Like, yeah.
It's genuinely not that easy. And you have that ability that has the impact of erasing a mistake. And everybody, the better you are, the better and this is what my teammates have drilled and like, this is what you're supposed to do. The better you get at the game is people make less mistakes, and you play the
Naturally.
game to capitalize on mistakes. If everybody always played perfect all the time, nobody would ever die, and it would not be interesting. People die when people capitalize on mistakes. And being able to just completely erase a mistake that somebody makes is not interactive gameplay and not healthy for the game, in my opinion. Because
If we're talking about res now, I think, yes, res is very powerful. But without res, certain metas wouldn't have existed. Like, something like double sniper just doesn't exist, because you're not going to play two snipers where, oh, the Widow kills the other Widow and boom, fight's over. Like, yes, you might be able to win on the ground, but like certain things like that. A Widow 1v1, losing that, it's getting outplayed. That's not a mistake. Like, if you're taking the 1v1. And the Mercy res isn't a get out of jail free card. Like, that is, oh, you lost the 1v1. Okay, well, now you're brought back, and guess what? The team fight's even because something like that.
Yeah, like
It's just like, yes, the ability is powerful, and obviously as you play the game and you get better at the game, certain abilities, I still think the impact is the same, whether it's at lower levels or because the effect is still the same. Even if your Reinhardt feeds his brains out, right, and you get the res off, okay, cool, he's back. Even in pro play, your Reinhardt wasn't feeding. He just got MTD'd or he got rolled, right? And you bring him back. it's the same thing. Your Reinhardt is still back, and however good that player is now back on the field.
But look,
so
I want you to, like, Nick, I'm just curious, like, what do you mean by mistake? Do you mean, like, yeah, like Mark said, like in a Widow 1v1, if you, like, if the other Widow out aims you, is that a mistake, or do you mean like bad positioning or like feeding or like?
Think about it in the opposite. Think about it in the opposite direction. Yes, sure, the Widowmaker out aims you, you get outplayed. But what could have contributed to that player dying? A mistake. Maybe they re-peek, or maybe they come out and peek at an angle.
Or maybe the Widow just comes out and just fucking domes you. Like, it could be an aim difference.
If it's aim difference, and if it's aim difference, then you deserve to die. You got outplayed.
What if I
Okay,
get
that's what I'm
Hanzo'd?
saying. That's not a mistake, though. Getting outplayed is not a mistake. In terms of that. Certain other things, obviously. But, like, in terms of a Widow 1v1, and I'm telling you, as a Widow player, like, yes, I know. When I re-peek things and die, damn it, I shouldn't have done that. I should have repositioned. But when I just grapple up and just fucking dome a Widow coming out of spawn, how is that a mistake? Were they supposed to not come out of spawn if their team is long gone and I'm just farming them? Like, that's not a mistake.
Yeah, and how does it feel if that gets rezzed immediately?
I'm like, okay,
But
that's a me thing. But that's why I then camp that res. That's why I would hold that, because if the Mercy just goes in, I'm going to try to pressure her out, and I'm going to try to dome her when she stays still. And then if I miss, that's on me. But if you want counterplay, that allows for the counterplay. Oh, I killed the Widow in the 1v1. Okay, well, if we want to res, we got to use these cooldowns. Oh, we want to stop the res, we got to do this. That shifts the entire focus of the fight sometimes. So I think yes, that one ability is very strong, but there's still so much that can negate it. And again, certain things are built on it, like the Widow 1v1 and then having a Mercy on both teams. That's the point. If a Widow 1v1 didn't matter, then why would the Mercy have to be there for a res? Like,
the Widow 1v1 would still matter if the Mercy didn't have res. The Widow 1v1 would matter more. The person who outplays the other one.
Exactly. If the Mercy doesn't have res, that's even more impactful. Because if you get domed and then you get rezzed and you get domed again, tough shit. Like, you are getting outplayed, and now they have the advantage because they deserve that advantage because you got outplayed.
They deserve the advantage for you getting outplayed in the first place. And I'm specifically referring to a situation where the Mercy gets off the res and there's literally nothing you can do about it. There are some situations that happens all the time. Walls, cover, tanks. Like, you have to commit resources sometimes, but it doesn't make it. It's not hard.
But I think getting the res off is like obviously res is really strong, but it's like more so it's like running Mercy. Or what do you lose by running Mercy? Like sometimes you want to run Mercy if you want to pocket a Widowmaker, and like it's really strong if like the Widow's just barely peeking around the corner and she dies, right? And the Mercy can just res behind the wall. But it's like you running a Mercy, you're not gonna have like a Bap, but you might not have like a Lucio, or you might not have a Zen.
If you're pocketing the Widow, then your other healer is doing majority of the healing because I mean, it's just like the Hanzo or the Widow is getting, or the Ashe is getting that Mercy pocket.
Different supports have different strengths, you know. It's like, if you want to run Mercy, you might want to be like running a more, I don't know, like poke comp or something. So it's just like by running a Mercy, you're missing out on a lamp, or by running a Mercy, you're missing out on, I don't know, Ana. Like anti-nade is really strong, and so like by running a Mercy, you're just kind of missing out on like really good heals because like I mean, obviously, you know, again, Mercy has her pro, she has damage boost, which is really strong. So I think it's just kind of like a thing where it's like, you know, just because you have Mercy res, it's not a guaranteed win. Same thing like with the thing about Bap. Like maybe this is more like I'm just like a statistical Steven, but like if you look at the numbers, like just because you have a Bap in your team doesn't mean you'll win, even in Grandmaster. Like Lamp isn't this. It's not like Brig 1.0 where you had to run her and she was overpowered. Like Lamp, even using a Lamp to negate an ultimate, it's not a guaranteed counterplay. Or like even saving your Reinhardt.
Shoot the Lamp. You can fucking shoot it. There's 6 people on the team.
I mean,
shoot
obviously,
the fucking thing.
like most of the time, I think lamps can be shot, but there are times where there are times where I want you peeking a corner so I can lamp around the corner and no one can hit the lamp. Like I think that in those cases, like I get that.
Yes, that's what I'm referring to, the times where there is no counterplay. And because of the fact there's no counterplay, it makes it a lot less interactive and it's unhealthy for the game.
I think it, like there are situations where it depends though. Like I would say like if that happened to me, like if Moss was peeking a corner and I'm like, all right, Moss, you can shoot for as long as you want because I'm gonna lamp around the wall and the lamp will see you, but the enemy can't see the lamp. If that happens to me, I'm just like, well, let's just wait out the lamp. And obviously, like that's not gonna work in every situation.
Yeah. That also goes with Bap's Ant Matrix. A lot of the time, obviously, if you drop it in a really good situation, how we've seen like at the pro level or whatever, you drop it and just flatten people. But if you hear Bap drop that or whatever, you just back up.
Out, yeah.
When you see Bap drop lamp and you just like try to shoot it and wait it out, as soon as that's gone, that's the go button.
What are you gonna say, Moss? Huh?
So that's that kind of counterplay.
What is it, Moss? You may speak.
I understand where like the foundation of these arguments are, but I feel like Lamp is treated like, you know, there's one character that has this ability. These like get out of jail free cards. If the other team doesn't play BAP, then you don't have to worry about it. And I get it's like, oh well, no shit, Sherlock, but it's just like
I mean, Bat's pick rate isn't crazy high either.
I feel like it's just like, I don't know. The thing with immortality, I think people just overreact because they put in an easy way for a Baptiste to outplay somebody. You know what I mean? It's like, oh, I used to get fat grabs, but now Bap could just press E and negate my entire ultimate. That's true. Maybe, I don't know, track his fucking cooldown. Wait till he uses it and then grab. You know what I mean? It's like, I just think people like to jump to, this is broken, this is overpowered, other than just like, well, I'm just doing this wrong. You know what I mean? It's like, I am a terrible player at Overwatch. Okay, I am not the kind of person who will just count the 26 seconds that it takes for that lamp to cool down. You know what I mean?
Having your phone timer right next to you, so whenever you see the lamp, you push
I
the
just fucking lap it every time. But it's just like, I don't know. I think people are just so fucking overreactive to something like lamp. Like, I get what they're saying and I understand. There have been times where I've been like, really, the fucking lamp, the lamp, you know what I mean? But it's like,
but Moss benefits from the lamp. He benefits from the lamp.
Yeah, but also like Mercy's res, it's like, it's not like she could res 6 people anymore. She reses 1 person, and it's on like a 30-second cooldown. I don't care if it's like a get out of jail free card. If I peek around a corner and I get fucking Hanzo'd, 1-tapped, it's like, I didn't make a mistake. The Hanzo was just shooting. He might not even been shooting at me, you know? And the Mercy reses me back up. You know what I mean? I just don't see that as like a get out of jail free card. It's just utility. And it's not like the reason, like, yes, it is very powerful, but that's why everybody doesn't have a fucking res in their goddamn kit.
Let me pose this question. If BAP didn't have lamp and if Mercy didn't have res, would they get played?
But then their abilities would have been replaced with something.
They should have different utility in some different way, or their other utilities should be more powerful.
Like I don't know what else they would have.
We're not the game designers. I'm just specifically referring, like I said, I'm specifically referring to the time where there is no counterplay. It's not fun. Tough. And I don't think it's healthy for the game.
But there are a few other abilities in the game where there is like Sombra, for example. It's like, okay, yes, there is counterplay, but like, how often are you going to be able to?
Hack is like way more oppressive, or like things like that are way worse than res and lamp. Like something like that.
Are you referring to her hand hack or her ultimate?
Okay, well, EMP is one of the most powerful ultimates in the game. But like even her neutral hack, a good Sombra that just bullies people the entire game, is so much more frustrating than res or lamp. Like, so much more frustrating.
But there's even, like, the threat of EMP, where it's like, if I'm Lucio, it's like, well, shit, I know the Sombra is EMP. I'm not going to beat until the Sombra ults. But then the Sombra knows that, and Sombра's like, I'm never going to ult. So the Lucio never ults. And I'm like, well, shit. Like, I'm shit out of luck. Like, so, I mean, I don't know. I'm trying to think of other abilities that don't have a ton of counterplay.
Wait, are you talking about this because it was brought up in the Q&A?
Well, we were talking about,
we were just talking about like how a possible BAP rework, because I think that I swear I saw in an interview that the devs said they were taking a look at BAP. I can't find that source anywhere.
Well, even it was brought up here. I think, of course, our good friend Bitch Baby Samito asked about IMO and how it was if it was unhealthy for the
Oh,
I was
read
told
it out.
recently when asking about IMO that the team feels as if it gatekeeps specific compositions. Do you feel like an ability like this is still necessary? And then they're like, we often hear the other side of the coin that ultimates feel like a just I win button, right? So maybe and they're like maybe Immort is too good, but they don't like the idea of removing that kind of interaction because
So they
feel like they keep all because their explanation for it is that it feels like that it keeps alts in check and that it forces you to play smarter and that you have to play around the lamp.
Yeah,
which
so
I think is fine. I think they're like just don't be stupid. Like try to bait it out, wait it out.
I think the reason why a lot of people hate it in that aspect is because compared to like Sleep Dart or
it's not skillful.
It's easier to hit to shut down an ultimate than with Immortality Field, which I kind of get that. But like what do you think? Like how the devs see Lamp as like keeping ults in check, so they're not just like I win buttons.
Yeah, I completely understand that. I think I'm just saying I think there's other ways to do it than just hey, you're invincible now.
Like okay, how would you change Lamp? If you could now.
The damage reduction sounds way better.
By what?
Then it's useless.
Yeah, like if you make it 50%, then it's just like one of the most useless abilities.
On a 30, you have to reduce the cooldown.
Yeah, there's ways to balance it. It doesn't have to be on it doesn't have to have 150 health. It doesn't have to have big of a hitbox. It doesn't have to have a bigger area of effect. There's so many other ways to balance it other than okay, here you go. You're invincible.
But I think if you make it so the Lamp is damage reduction, it removes Lamp's ability as an ult to keep ults in check.
Yeah, because then a Grav Dragon combo will still kill you, and Amp Matrix Bastion will still kill you. Like
the EMP Shatter Nanoblade Flux combo.
Yeah, and I'm
still your team.
Yeah, and guess what? I'm okay with that.
The Nanoblade Bongo Shatter Diva Bomb will still kill your entire team.
The ability shouldn't be able to cancel everything. Like,
but it doesn't. Like you walk out of a Grad Dragon at 30 health.
No, exactly. Yeah, that's the thing. Like
after the lamp expires.
Maybe certain things, right? Your Ryan's getting destroyed, right? You throw down Lamp around a corner, right? It allows him to back up and gives him more health or enough time to like nano him or something. But most people are not going to use Lamp like that. Most people are going to use Lamp either aggressively or to stop ultimates. That's all they're going to do.
It's actually weird though, because like in my experience, Lamps are garbage at stopping ultimates. Like, because they just get shot. If our team if I'm, as the good bat player I am, I know the Ryan's going to shatter. I stay away. The rest of the team gets shattered, and I lamp them. The lamp gets destroyed, and then they get up at 30 health, or the lamp gets destroyed while they're still down.
You know what? The Ryan has this wonderful ability called Pin, where he can just take a target and just fling him out of the lamp.
Like in my experience, like lamps are way better at saving teammates who like maybe are like fed a little too hard or something like that. So it's like it's weird that the devs think that, because a lot of the time in my like May, what the fuck is my lamp gonna do against a blizzard? They're gonna shoot the blizzard's right fucking there. I can't hide my blizzard behind a wall like you said, because if I want to protect my teammates, like most ultimates, the only ult that I think lamp does decently well against is blade. For some reason Genjis just don't like to swing at the blade, but like out for most other ults it just feels like my lamp.
Genjis need to get those burst kills.
Also, I think that's the team's job. The Genji shouldn't be wasting. His swings on the lamp. But like, I get what you. Like, it's just weird how like, cause I think in my experience at like gold and plat level, lamps aren't great at preventing ultimates, because again, if I need to protect my teammates, I put the lamp in a super vulnerable position and it just gets shot. It just gets broken. So like, I just think. So I guess it's falling into Nick's argument where I use Lamp. Lamp is way more effective at as a get out of jail free card, like Res. I mean, yeah.
But again, we play in the lower levels, and I think it was kind of designed for that. So, because at lower levels, because there's plenty of times where like, you get a Rhine and a Grav, the BAP literally just throws down Lamp behind the Rhine shield, and no one breaks it. Where it at our level, I understand why it can feel oppressive. I've never had an issue with Res. I haven't. I think it's a core part of Mercy's kit, and without it, I don't think she'd get played a lot. But at the like I understand where you're coming from, but I don't think Immortality Field is something that needs to be taken out. I think it's something that can be looked at, and I think that's something that will change as the game changes. But also with one less thing to guard it, the plain old simple shoot the lamp argument, if you're not playing a shield character in Overwatch 2, could be a lot more viable. We don't know.
Yeah. And I understand where you guys are coming from too. And like I said, I'm only referring...
But you're wrong. But you're incorrect.
All of my arguments are only referring to the times where there is no counterplay. And I think everything should have counterplay. All the time.
So if a Zarya gets grab up in 30 seconds like we saw in the GOATS tournament and there's no alts for it, but for some reason the BAP lamp is the only thing, you think that's bad because the Zarya popped off.
I think the BAP...
if you're saying you always want counterplay, that's the counterplay. Because if the Zarya destroys somebody, right? Or if the team is smart, right, and your backline gets dove, or like whatever, or your Lucio or your Zen who had trans or beat just got destroyed, and then a Grav is dropped or a Shatter's dropped, and your only option is Lamp, that's your counterplay. That's the thing, because his ult is offensive, even though, like, yes, it can be dropped and it can heal people, but his ult is mainly used as an offensive tool. That is his defensive tool. That's the thing. That's what they give him.
Well, the thing is that you just described, it was another situation. The counterplay doesn't even have to do with Lamp. If the Zarya pops off and builds a Grav in a fight, that's fucking terrible. Your team should deserve to get rolled the next fight if you literally let the Zarya do 95% of the team's damage, and then she builds a Grav. That is all the entirety of your team's fault. And if your BAP is able to save your entire team because this Zarya popped off on your idiot teammates, that is unfair because the Zarya deserved to get that damage on all these people who are making mistakes and letting her do all that.
Yeah, I think that's fair. That's a good point. I think the best way to summarize this, I've said this once before, but I'm trying to find a way to make this like really concise so everyone can understand it. But like the majority of Overwatch players, they amplify negative experiences in their life, and this is just like not even like a gaming thing. This is just like a human thing. Like out of 20 comp games they'll play, they'll have like 2 games where like a Reaper will just flank them and dominate them. Like, dude, Reaper's so overpowered, dude. Even with Doomfist, we've all had those games where Doomfist will just roll us, and we never see Doomfist for the next 2 weeks of gaming. We never see another Doomfist until another one comes in and they roll us. Like, oh, Doomfist is so overpowered, dude. And so like those few negative experiences just live rent free in our brain. Like I think this is another great example where Nick, there's probably a few times where there is actually none I can think of. No. I literally just thought of this and I was like, oh my god, this makes so much sense. This comes from Smash. This 100% comes from Smash.
No.
Sorry, go on. What is
this? This 100% comes from Smash because I am biased against feelings of like not being able to have anything to counterplay.
A lamp in Smash.
In Smash, you are playing one person versus one person. If you lose, it is all completely your fault.
Oh, that's fair.
And I'm not built like that, though.
I understand that, but in Smash, there are so many things that are so bullshit. It feels like there is no counterplay. And that is the shittiest feeling, and is the reason that I'm kind of hating Smash right now.
Oh, that's a fair point.
Like, it's amplified for me. I feel like everything needs counterplay, otherwise it is not interactive and it is not fun.
The thing is,
makes
Lamp
the game
has counter.
There are situations where Res and Lamp, which are the main ones that I have, and there's a lot of situations where some things do not have counterplay.
That's fair.
If you get outskilled and the Mercy is just able to res somebody for free and you have to do all of that again, the first one almost doesn't matter because what happens if then she pops off again?
It does matter because the Mercy burned res.
I'll be right back.
The Mercy burned res, so to allow your Widowmaker to maybe make that out.
But let's say again. But that means Mercy is now resing you, and for the next 30 seconds, if anybody more impactful, if your main tank dies, you can't even think about getting a res off because you don't have it. So I think res is balanced in terms of who you res. That might sound dumb, but like it depends on what you're playing. It's so hard to make these statements because it depends so much on each individual game.
Nick, I think
Yeah.
that like, well, one, that's a really cool, like, good breakthrough. Like, it all makes sense now. Like the fact that it comes from Smash, there's this sense that everyone needs to have counterplay. But I think like I'm curious, like when you say every ability needs to have counterplay, does every ability need to have the same level of counterplay? Like Sombra EMP, there is counterplay. Me sleeping here, but that's very hard. That's a very difficult level of counterplay.
Like hiding with a beat. That's
compared
also
to
counter.
yeah, and that's a much easier version of counterplay, if that makes sense. Like, do you think all abilities should have the same level of counterplay, or do you think like it's okay to have some of is it okay to have some abilities where it's like almost impossible to counterplay, but it could happen, like sleeping a Sombra out of ultimate. Like, do you think like what do you think about that?
That's harder because it is such a dynamic game. Not everything is so cut and dry. But yes, I think everything does need some sort of counterplay. Yes, something can be incredibly strong. That's the only reason that Summer gets played is because the EMP is incredibly strong. Unless you get a really good hack and are a good Sombra and get a really good hack, she's somewhat useless. In other sometimes, yeah, but for the most part, you play her for EMP, and it's strong for that reason. But it still has counterplay, difficult counterplay, but it is strong. But still has counterplay.
Yeah.
It depends, and it's part of what makes Overwatch so dynamic.
Yeah.
But no matter what, everything needs counterplay.
Still talking about fucking lamp.
We're almost
Jesus
done.
Christ. The ability's been out for like 2 years at this point. Next.
Well, I mean that's like going back to like I think that's the thing. Like I'm sure Nick or a few other people, like Samito for example, I'm sure those people have had like a few very negative experiences with the lamp, and that stuff lives rent free in their head. Same thing like I've
had negative experiences with things that have no counterplay. Is what I'm trying.
Well,
to
yeah,
say.
I guess, and so like we've all had negative experiences of some random token Doomfist or token Reaper or token Pharmacy.
Fucking Roadhog.
Yeah,
God
that just
damn.
dominates our matches, and that never happens to us for another 2 weeks, and then the casual player thinks, oh my god, Reaper needs to be nerfed. When in reality, that's really not the case. It's just those few negative experiences that like just ruin the game for us, and we emphasize those things more, and that makes us think that Roadhog should be nerfed. Doomfist is way too strong, dude. But it's like you've never seen Doomfist in the 2 weeks since that's happened. Like I think I'm trying to find a way to put that into like a tweet, because I really think that's how most Overwatch people operate. That they just think. Yeah, sorry, I see your hand. Sorry. Yes, Moss. What is it?
Here's my argument.
Okay. All right.
I think people need to just stop bitching about every single little thing that inconveniences them thing.
But that's what you.
That's true. But I don't do it and actually mean it, except for Wrecking Ball, because I want that hero to be deleted.
But
right?
people...
When someone bitches and complains about Lamp, you can play Overwatch for 8 hours a day, every day, and for like 3 hours of that, spend it bitching about Lamp. And you know what that's going to do? Absolutely nothing. You're going to continue to play the game just like you normally would. It's like...
I'm just going to say this. Apparently it has done something because they're considering changing it.
Yeah, because everybody hates it.
People
it's
hate it
because
for a
there's so
reason.
much negative stuff.
Moving on. I'm done with this.
Well,
Me too.
is there? I mean, I don't really have anything else.
You didn't ask for fan questions.
No,
this episode?
we've been recording for almost 2 hours. If we went fan
Harry-
question, this episode. What?
Yes,
Carrie,
by the
you
way,
could probably-
I
you
played
could
the
probably
6
put
game
fa-
tomorrow morning.
You could probably put fan questions right now, and we would get some questions.
Do you want me to do that? All right. Well, then you guys have to come with something for the next like few minutes. You guys have to talk about something. This will be your
You guys
improv
watch
skills.
Invincible?
I just saw something. Hold on.
You guys have some big improv skills.
So no, wait. I gotta find this shit. Hold on. Wait. It has to do with Guy Fieri, so it's incredibly important. I promise you. Hold on.
If it has to do with Guy Fieri, then yes,
Guy
It's
it's
super,
Fieri and
super
Overwatch.
important.
Guy Fieri and Overwatch.
No, here. You guys keep talking. I'm gonna try to find it.
You guys watch Invincible yet? Anybody
No.
watch Invincible on Amazon
No, I
Prime?
have not.
Yo, watch that shit. It's good. Some of it is very disturbing, but it is very good. also.
I'm not gonna lie, I haven't really heard much about it.
No,
What
no,
is
no.
it
Carrie,
about?
you spelled questions as questions.
Yeah, I mean that just kind of emphasizes the rush.
You
that
haven't
we
heard
do.
of it? Really?
Really? Invincible?
that-
It's on
yeah.
Amazon Prime TV. So I mean it's on Prime TV.
Yeah,
No,
if you
fuck
don't
you,
have
Forbes.
if you don't have Prime, I get that, but it's also like I don't go on any sort of thing dealing with pop culture right now that hasn't mentioned Invincible.
I
Like
it
the
seems
show
really
is
good.
immensely
It
popular.
seems really good. I just don't like watching shows that aren't finished yet because I have to wait a year for the next season, and I might forget things. And by the time the next season comes around, I should rewatch it, but like I kind of know enough that I don't want to rewatch it, and it's like just so annoying.
My problem is when it comes to that dilemma, it's like I would rather just watch because here's the thing, it's like if I want to watch a show but I'm like, oh, I want to wait till it's all out, it's like, but then I'm still not doing the one thing that I want to do, which is watching the show. So I watched the first season of Invincible. I watched the first 2 episodes one night, and then I watched the entire rest of the season.
Yeah,
I believe it's only 7 or 8 episodes.
I think it's
but
8,
like there's not a down episode. Every single
Yeah.
one slaps. Like it's fucking epic. Like
there
the
you go.
cat. To anybody listening to this who, it's included with Amazon Prime. So if you, I'm sure your mom has Prime or something, or your parents have Prime, load up on their account, watch Invincible. If you're younger, probably don't, because it is very graphic at times, and like
well, it's animated, so we're all good.
Well, no, there was one scene in the final episode of the season where literally my jaw dropped because I was like, holy fuck. Like it's disturbing.
Actually, how many times in your life has your jaw like actually dropped like on its own? You were that shocked and surprised.
Okay, in my entire fucking almost 20 years of life, I can't recall every single fucking thing that's happened.
It's happened a few times, yeah.
So that implies that it happens like a decent amount.
No, it's like I don't pay attention to it. You know what I mean?
Guys, this is really important
that's fair.
and all, but can I get to the thing that I was going to talk about?
What is it? Tell me.
So
your
Julius
Guy Fieri.
Randle, the most improved player this season in the NBA, makes around $18.9 million a year. Right?
Okay.
Guy Fieri just signed a brand new contract with Food Network.
That'd be like $15 bajillion.
He is over the next 3 years making $80 million, which is a $50 million raise from his prior agreement, making him not only one of the most highly paid chef or celebrity chefs, one of the highest TV personalities, one of the highest paid TV personalities.
Damn fucking straight.
Can we celebrate this guy? Can we just celebrate how good Guy Fieri is?
Can we all toast? Let's toast to Guy Fieri.
Everybody
my water
No,
bottle.
I refuse. I refuse.
Nick Imaginary.
How
Guy,
dare you refuse?
This is
Guy
for you,
Fieri.
Guy. Here's the 25 more years of Triple D. I'll see you next time on Diners, Drive-Ins, and Dives. Cheers, my brother.
Oh my god. No, I asked that
that's what
because
I wanted to say.
I think the only time in my life where my jaw actually dropped open was when I went to Washington D.C. and I went to the Capitol building and the big middle section with the big dome, and I looked up and I was 12 years old and I was like, "What have you been there?"
Oh, it's happened a lot for me, I guess.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
I'm just not the person where it actually just drops naturally. Where I'm just some people do it for an exaggerated reaction, but I'm talking about when it naturally happens, you're like, holy shit.
The most recent one I can think of for me is Sephiroth in Smash.
Dude, other than... you want to know one that I specifically remember?
What?
It was the theater awards, our senior year, the high school theater awards. My jaw dropped. So there was another. So we did Newsies our senior year, and there was another
It
school
was
that
flames.
did Newsies.
We packed heat into every single note. It was flames.
Yes,
Literally.
but literally the other school, and I'm not saying this because it's biased. They literally were fucking awful.
It was
and
so
here's the thing.
bad. Oh, it was
Newsies,
so
Newsies
bad.
is my favorite musical. It is my favorite, my dream role and everything, right? When
watching-
they performed, my jaw dropped.
It's like
because
watching
of
a car
how
crash.
Yes,
fucking
wait, no,
awful.
mine did too. It was
My jaw, and
are
it
you
wasn't an
kidding me?
exaggeration. Literally, they started dancing, and I was like,
dancing.
It's so
car
funny.
crash. It was like a fucking dumpster
I'd rather
fire
watch a
that was-
fucking car crash.
It was like a dumpster on fire thrown off the Grand Canyon into the Chernobyl, into
No,
some nuclear.
No, but
cesspit.
I saw it as a car crash because it was so awful, but I couldn't keep my eyes off of it. It's I want to see what happens.
Look away.
I want to see what happens. It's so awful, but I gotta keep looking.
It's one of those things that's so painful you
Dude,
can't help but
There's
laugh.
a reason that literally the only kids that were cheering for them really after their performance was done were the kids from their school.
Yeah.
And we got a standing ovation, so I mean, who was better? I'm still gonna just live that down. But I really remember that because it was just I remember things that were I don't know. I feel like I remember the things that are so bad more than the things that were just amazing.
Well, I mean,
you know
because
what I
it makes sense. Because most of your life are like like average to good things. So when something bad happens, it's like it sticks out more, and you just remember all this.
That's fair.
That's fair.
Like sometimes you're
But-
maybe
like shocking
appalled.
moments.
I don't want to get.
Oh,
I don't want to.
I remember
get
there was one
angry again, so
another
I
shocking
don't
moment I had. I was watching
stop
Finding Nemo, and I was a little kid. I told this story before, I think, but I was on the couch playing with a Lego piece, and I was watching Finding Nemo, and it was that one scene where the camera does a full 180 and it reveals Bruce. Like his smile fills the screen. And I was a little kid watching. I was playing with the Lego piece, and when that shit happened, I was so scared. I dropped I just dropped the Lego piece. I was that surprised. Like it was just an involuntary reaction. I just dropped my fucking Lego piece.
I guess like a recent one was the Summer Showdown.
Really?
I'll say that. Yeah,
Oh, yeah,
I mean
no, when the
EQO,
EQO
played. Oh,
like
yeah.
fucking the shock losing, like that was just straight up like
Yeah.
not just like
I don't know. I guess I don't get like that surprised.
that's just like that was I think the most recent, but like genuine, just like I don't know. It's been so
like
long. I don't
speechless,
remember.
like full on, like
Probably
yeah.
a Broadway. My guess is probably a Broadway show. I just have to think of which one.
Yeah. Well, there you go.
That is
What are
one.
you, Nick? Huh?
I brought this Smash for me.
Is Nick just a
What?
stone cold? He got a heart of
Smash,
steel.
Die Hard
I
junkie.
well no
Steve
I,
Austin
no.
here.
It depends. I feel like I feel like I'm not. I don't get super like speechless. I feel I like or anything about that. Like if I have an emotion that's like overwhelming or something like that, my jaw doesn't really drop. I usually just experience that emotion very intensely.
we have
Okay.
I don't know.
Yeah,
questions?
we do have a
Because
fan,
I'm hungry.
we do have a few fan questions.
All right, let's do some fan
Experiences stomach
questions. I
pain.
haven't eaten since 5 o'clock, so I'm really and I ate a scone and I'm
And I have
hungry.
yeah I do.
I've
have
never
to
had
get
a
up at
scone in my
6:30 tomorrow
life.
morning as well.
I don't care.
Okay, well I thought I'd get a reaction.
What are they
Damn.
like? What's
Um,
a scone like?
Stratocaster asks, scariest life moments. I have one, so I'll wait indicate what you guys are thinking. I mean this is just one that came to mind. I was on the Enders jungle gym or the playground, and I was this is when I was younger, but I was swinging on the fucking hell, what's it called? The ones where you swing the monkey.
Yes.
I'm forgetting.
The monkey bar.
The monkey bar. Thank you. So I was swinging the monkey bars, and I accidentally slipped, and my chest like hit one of like the elevated things you step. I hit one of the stairs that you get onto, and it was the first time, I think I was like 9 years old, that I got the wind knocked out of me. And at the time, and I've never had that happen to I've never had the wind knocked out of me since then. But like it was the first time it happened for me, and I didn't know what was happening. I couldn't breathe. I was like, I'm gonna die, just standing on the surface of the earth in like normal air, and I felt like I couldn't breathe, and I felt like I was just gonna suffocate to death just in front of my dad. My dad was just there, and I just felt so scared because I had gotten the wind knocked out of me and I couldn't breathe. And I was like, I'm gonna fucking die. Here's how it ends. I mean, I can probably think of another one, but like that's the one that came to my mind. I don't know if like. Because no one here's had a near-death experience, right? Like, they thought they were
I don't
actually...
think so.
Oh,
No.
there was one... Okay, I told this, but it's not a scary moment, but, like, it's one of those moments where I just thought, like, all right, this is it. Like, this is how it ends. It was Nick, Charles, and I. This was Thanksgiving 2019. We went to Destiny. We went to the mall.
Oh
And
yeah.
There was
no.
we were there, and there was a gunshot on the floor above us. And for, like, half a second, I'm like, this is it. All right, and like this is how it ends, and immediately after
In the Lego store.
no, we were Charles wanted to buy a pretzel at the Ann's
Ann's.
yeah, and so we were like out in like the hall, like the walkways of the mall, and so like a second later I realized like I was fine because like one, there were no other gunshots, no one was screaming, no one was running, but there were a few people running, but like there was no panic, and so I'm like, oh well, let's still leave anyways. It turns out like the gun like just accidentally discharged. But when we walked out, there were like ambulances, police cars. We're like, all right, well, let's just keep walking back to the car. But there was that half second where I'm like, all right, this is it. Like, I was like, well, this is how it ends, Cary. And I was just like, yeah.
I don't think it.
I have one, and it's kind of not weird, but like not unexpected. Honestly, the reason it was scary for me is because I didn't know what was happening. So like I've had anxiety and stuff like that for a while. But I never had like an anxiety or like a panic attack. And so there was like there was just like a night where like just randomly I was having a really hard time, and just like suddenly like I just felt like I couldn't breathe. Like I was just like so overwhelmed by a ton of different things at the same time that I was feeling anxious about, and as I was just having an anxiety or a panic attack, and I was just like, why do I feel this way? Why is this so bad? Like why am I so like why is this so upsetting right now? Like I didn't know what was happening or why I was feeling that way. And so it was like super overwhelming and like scary because I didn't know why or what was happening.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
I think panic attacks are like one that a lot of people can point to as like something that happens to them. I mean, what is Moss looking at his phone? He's like Googling. It's like, what are some scary life experiences?
Trying to think of some scary life experiences.
Yeah.
I don't know.
The shit that you and Mark did
Nothing
as a kid.
scares Moss. Nothing.
Yeah.
Oh, well,
absolutely
see, but I
nothing
wasn't
scares
scared
Moss.
by that. For my parents, it was probably as scary because like Mark and I downed a bottle of aspirin. I coated the house in. Well, okay, that's not a death. I coated the house in jelly.
We were trying. You know, like the big CR TV, like the tube TVs, like the
Yes!
big shit. So Moss and I were trying to get something I forgot what it was. I think we were trying to reach like the DVD player or something. And we were like
climbing the
we were
TV.
climbing the TV, and this shit falls over on top of me. And we were like little, and this thing weighs probably like 4 times or if not more. Well, actually way more than that.
One of those old dinosaur CRTs that requires like 8 people in a crane to lift it because it's so heavy.
So I was
there's
crushed
one
underneath
right behind
that.
me. Right.
Yeah, I was
Yeah.
just imagine
Yeah,
that, but
that's the one.
huge.
No, not that. It's not like the projection TV like that. It's different.
Oh.
No, but we were
yeah.
like climbing on top of it, and I pull it down, and we have this ottoman, and luckily, like Mark's head was inside. It was like in the ottoman, because otherwise the thing would have just fallen down and fucking crushed him, and
Mark
like he
would've-
would have died.
Yeah.
I almost killed my brother when we were like 4 or 5 years old.
So we wanted to like change the channel or something.
Yeah,
I want you gone.
because the buttons were on the top of the TV.
Why? That's
We
so
can't.
dumb.
Dude, I don't know. I didn't design the fucking TV.
I
Give me
can't.
a
Why
reach
didn't
the
you,
play
huh?
Mario Kart button.
Why didn't you design the TV?
Okay, next question.
Yeah, Derpy Padawan asks, what's the biggest pro gamer move you've ever done?
Joined my school's Overwatch.
The biggest pro gamer move.
Yeah, what's the biggest pro
The
gamer
biggest
move you've
pro
ever
gamer
done?
move I've ever done. I don't know. This is probably not a pro gamer move.
I have the
but-
answer.
When I went to like my first or second Smash tournament, my round one opponent was like a 6-year-old.
fucking dumpster.
Yo, I paid $15 to get into that tournament. I was not losing to this kid. I paid $15 to get into that tournament. This kid was like 6 years old, and I was like, no mercy. I was
His
going
mom was
off.
there.
No, his mom was not there. His dad was there.
Oh.
Ooh.
Oh, I know. In this
Wait,
answer,
so wait. That's it? That was the best move you've. That's like that is like the pinnacle of your gaming. Like
No, that's not
Dumpstering a
the-
6-year-old.
No,
Low tier
that's
Smash
not-
tournament.
like I was thinking of like
No.
big plays that I made in Overwatch or like CS:GO. You're like, I beat a 6-year-old kid. Like
No,
No, but
Like-
Nick didn't beat this kid. He sent this kid's spirit into
He
the fucking
retired him.
shadow realm.
fucking retired.
no, that's not like that's. I didn't do anything special when I played that kid, but like
this kid
afterwards,
no
I
longer
was like,
plays video games.
Yeah,
This
that's
kid reads
what-
books.
no, like after that,
Now
I
he
was
plays
like,
with an abacus or some shit.
after like no, but like after that, like that's not like anything special. I didn't do anything special, but like after that, I was like, yeah, that's what playing competitively does to somebody. Like,
Is there
no
any
mer-
like actually good
no
plays
mercy.
you think you've
I mean,
done? Like in any
like,
game? Preferably like Overwatch
I've had
or
too many.
like
I've had
something
too
that we
many, I
understand.
can't
Because
think.
if you said a Smash one, we might not
I've had
understand.
too many.
Okay, all
the-
right, Marco, calm
The
down.
the only ones that I can think of. Oh, actually, I think there was one time I did. I think it was in a scrim for our Overwatch team. I did do like a 180 block. I did a 180 block Diva bomb, then 180 and block a shatter because I knew it was coming because like they tried to shatter bomb.
Do you have any footage of that?
We
Then
didn't
it didn't
record
happen.
Well,
Yeah,
I
it
guess
didn't
we'll never
happen.
know.
All right, I have two. One for me and then one for us three. the us three was in Rochester at RIT
Oh my
at
god.
the Flash Shops when we created fucking we literally made comps for the 3v3 deathmatch, even though we got kind of dumped
So
on.
it was set the scene. So it was like an Overwatch Flash Shops event where you could come and like you could watch Overwatch League.
Like beginning Flash Shops. Like
and they
this
had
was
and they had like a 3v3 tournament. I don't even know if there's prize cash.
just for fun.
Yeah,
I think there was like a small prize.
But it seemed like the event prioritized Overwatch League. Like people could come and watch the game. But when we came there, the majority of people, like, they fucking brought their laptops to practice on,
ready.
and
It
we were
was
just
crazy.
like, and we were just there to watch the games. We even made a vlog, and like whenever like the mayhem come, we're like, yeah, mayhem, because they were trash in season 1, and so like we were like, well, I guess we'll just play, and then like we made comps. We made like we made
the
like
Torb Stomp comp.
the Torb Stomp
Triple
comp.
Sniper, the Torb Stomp comp.
Well, I was just playing with a shitty mouse where the DPI was wrong. They gave us like 2 minutes to do our settings. I'm like, my shit ain't working. Like, I couldn't hit a single hook to save my life.
We
and that
lost.
was peak Moss Roadhog.
We lost the first round.
We got dumped, dude.
But hey, those guys will never forget that they beat SN up.
Exactly.
Dude, probably my biggest pro gamer move was on our featured stream when I fucking dominated the ranked ladder as Bastion.
Oh my god.
I had so many highlight plays. Dude, just the fucking... My favorite moment is when, like... I forget. There was, like... So I'm sitting up top. So we're on Hollywood, second point. I'm sitting up top on the building farther back, closer to, like, the third point. And, we already got, like, 2 kills in a fight. I pop my ult, come down from the fucking skies, get a 3K, and then we C9.
We C9.
Get the third point. But it was still pretty epic.
I don't know if that was on the... Oh, that was in the same stream. We were tagging on Hollywood, and then my internet died, and when I came back...
And we
you
finished
got,
with 3 minutes left.
You capped with 3 minutes left.
We fucking destroyed the... My Bastion was immensely powerful, let me tell you.
Wait, what was the other pro game move you did, Mark?
Oh, mine was in my tryouts where I dropped like 350 bombs on Ashe, and then I was told to swap to other characters, which I then continued to dominate.
Preston and I, like,
the only time I didn't win was like the last map when he was like, you have to play Tracer and Sombra. But when I was playing Cary, Widow, and Ashe, I was just fucking.
You said, wait, 50 elims or 50 final blows?
Like 50. No, I had like full, like 50 elims, but like 35, like in 30.
Preston and I, we were in a call, and we both agreed, like, we refused to believe that you dropped 50, like, multiple 50 bombs. How? There's no fucking way.
I'm telling you, Cary, I don't think I've ever played
How long
better
were those
in my
games?
life.
How long were those games? Those games.
Fucked. Cary,
Where
I'm
is
not
this?
even. Cary, I went on King's Row. I went on a flank on point B and wiped out 4 people, 3 headshots and a dynamite. Like, wiped out the back line.
I've never seen this Marco in my life. All right,
I'm
he?
legit. I'm telling you, I'm legit. Like, there's footage. I don't know if it's footage of me directly, but there is footage somewhere of all tryouts.
There's no way.
There was footage of tryouts. I was dropping 50
no one else
bombs.
50 elims in multiple 50 elim matches. That's
well, I think 2
crazy.
games is Ashe, 250
Not that hard.
250 bombs.
How many elims?
Well, when a lot of the players on the team were either in plat or lower, there were a couple people higher than me.
Do it right now. Moss, open up Overwatch, go to your career profile. What's the most elims? What's the most elims you've got in the game? Do it right now.
I think
How
mine
do I
is
check that.
It's just go into your career profile.
I didn't know that was something you could check.
It's like a stat. I've
dropped more than I've dropped
guess-
like 60 something on Zarya.
I know,
I
but
had
that's
69 elims.
It's either gonna be on
yeah,
Diva
that's what I'm saying.
or Zarya.
If 70 is like your best, you're dropping multiple 50s. Like, dude, most matches, you're like 30 is good enough.
2 in a row, Cary.
Exactly.
It was literally 2 in a row.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. It
was tryouts against like people who were worse than me, which is fine. And I was literally
But it's the same thing as Nick fucking, like, you know, ending the career of a 6-year-old Smash player.
Check this. Almost. Where is
career
this?
profile.
And go to like competitive, and I think you can check. It's somewhere. I can't.
Competitive.
I don't want you to share your
Elimination.
screen because then it messes with the screen
No, there's
share.
like eliminations average. No, it's not here. I think they
Elimination.
got rid of it.
No.
Cary.
Click on the hero. Click on like a hero you play, like the bar.
Let's see,
Bastion.
Zarya.
Yeah, here you go. And make sure it's for competitive.
All modes or no competitive.
Yeah.
all comp seasons.
My best Bastion game was 61, and my best game
Exactly,
with Final Blows
61.
was 44.
And Mark, you're saying he
Wait,
hit.
how do you check your best game though? What?
No, it'll just click on the hero, and then it'll say best for each of your stats.
For each
Oh
stat.
well, I have like a 30 kill streak is my best, but
No,
it doesn't show me like.
it should
my
show
lowest.
Elam.
No, Mark,
Something.
it should say eliminations.
No, hold on.
Go over it. Monster
Oh, eliminations. My best is 66. For
Exactly.
Zarya.
And Mark's saying he hit 250 bombs back to back. Like,
well, this wasn't in comp. Hold on. So I
Oh
gotta
my
do
God.
all modes for this.
oh my god.
Yeah,
This is-
Elim's 49. So like
And
basically
Mark's out-
50 bombs.
And Mark's you're saying he hit, like if people's bat like so. I mean, Mark goes like breaking
my
like
my
records.
average per 10. Oh, hold on. Let me go to comp
You
for
see?
this.
I'm saying
All
fake.
seasons.
This is fake news.
This is not fake news, bro. I was fucking.
This is
My
some-
average per 10 minutes in all comp seasons as Ashe is 22 per 10 minutes. 22 Elims per 10 minutes.
For last competitive season, because I haven't done my placements yet, my average eliminations per 10 minutes on Bastion was 30. And my on Echo was
Jesus Christ.
35.11.
Jesus
But I played, but I like barely played Echo, so I don't understand.
Oh my
Right.
god. Yeah.
Like one more question. I'm hungry as
Yeah.
fuck, dude. I need
Yeah.
to eat.
Oh wait, I don't. I think the only pro gamer move I ever done was on my birthday. It was
You
March...
hit masters. That's your pro
No,
gamer
no, no. Well, I
move.
mean, I don't know. I'm gonna say that too. It was March 21st, 2017. I queued up on Volskaya as Mercy, and I got 3 5-man reses, and I got like I got like total like 22 total people res in a single comp match. I'm like, you know what? That's a pro gamer move right there. And I was like, it was my birthday too, so it was like a perfect picture.
Hog.
I would even say hitting masters is my pro gamer move because that was a Mercy one trick. So like, I don't know if that.
Worth.
I don't know.
None
At the
of
same
us have
time,
hit
at the same
masters.
time, yeah.
I've come close,
yeah,
but
try
I'm not
try
there yet.
close. How close? Mid diamond.
Like high, yeah, like high.
Mid.
3300.
Oh, okay.
Like
Try,
high I have a ways to
try
go.
try claiming those last 200. Try climbing those last 200. We'll see.
As
Let me know.
Zarya, I could.
But you
I'm
won't.
really close to diamond.
As Zarya and Sigma.
What? What are you
Anyways.
laughing at?
No,
am
no, I
really-
just think-
Anyways, like one more
No,
question.
it's
What
just
other
funny.
question?
Everyone else probably like, I'm no, and yeah, I was expecting Moth like, no, I'm close to diamond too. Oh, that's a good one.
Last season at 29.90.
Project Glitch asks, what's the largest animal you could take on in a fight without weapons?
Largest animal I could take in a fight without weapons?
Like a praying mantis.
What?
What's a big non-hostile animal? Nothing in the water.
Like a giraffe, maybe?
Yeah, I was gonna say
I feel
giraffe.
like a giraffe
They're
could
so
fuck
big!
you up.
But
They
they
could just trample you. Though.
But as long as you no, but they're not predators. Their eyes, all you have to do is literally just approach them. A horse, bro. Their eyes are on either side of their head. You just have to approach them from the middle, and they can't see you. And all you have
you
to,
want to get kicked by a horse?
but they don't kick forward, do they? You just don't. You approach them from the
You
front.
don't know. Horses
Horses-
built different,
horses-
dude.
How the fuck? Wait, okay, no. So you're saying that horses race and their eyes go like this? How the hell are they supposed to see what's in front of them if they can only see on the fucking sides?
No, they. But that's literally like that's why they have their eyes on their side because they're prey, so they can see more. They have a bigger field of view. Obviously, they can still see someone in front of them, but like
I
that's
thought
why.
you were gonna be like, oh, they can't sense
That's
movement
why-
in front. I'm like, they
No,
run
no.
forward.
Horses do have a blind spot directly.
Yeah,
in front
that's
of
why
them.
you don't want to approach
So
a
do
horse from the
people
front.
in cars.
Like you.
What's a car? A fucking car. That is my answer.
A car's not an animal.
It's good enough.
It's called.
I
They
think-
have horsepower. Therefore,
think,
it's
like-
an animal.
Oh, actually, no,
You know,
sorry.
if
This
you-
is without weapons. How
Also,
the
you
fuck
can
am
get
I
like
gonna-
a raptor or a jaguar or like yeah.
How the
those
fuck
are
am I gonna
fucking-
kill a horse with my bare hands? Like,
Don't be a bitch.
Don't be a bitch.
like if they have some thick
Oh, but
skin.
it's without weapons.
Yeah, it's without with
Oh.
your bare fucking hands. What animal can like a
You break
caterpillar?
legs. You go for the legs.
But that
How-
doesn't kill something. If you break,
Yeah.
you could jump off a building and break both your legs and you wouldn't
No,
die.
you break the legs so then
You
you
s-
can kill it.
But like I don't
This
think
is such a terrible.
But you-
Yeah, this is
But
a
you-
horrible. This is a horrible conversation. I would
Alright,
never
then-
do
then-
that.
then-
by the
then-
How
way.
about just an inanimate
for
object that
me-
you guys think you could take down without a weapon? I think it would be like a big ass crane. I think I could do that. Just like do
How?
that shit real fast one way and just get off.
Oh, you mean just like
You
you just
know,
operate it poorly, just poorly
yeah, pretty
operated.
You know, like the big bean bags.
I mean,
I could
how would
try to take on
what is,
one of
What is in that situation? What certifies as taking it down? Like they're already kind of just on the floor.
Beating the shit out of it, dude.
Like how would you take it? How would you go take it down? Like, see that
Like you take like a
beanbag?
Clifford
Fucking
the big
FBI.
red dog beanbag
Take it down,
and just
take it
beat
down.
the shit out
Dude,
of
you
it.
just see the FBI with like snipers
Take it
go
down.
free on fucking beanbag. Take it out,
It's
boys.
like cloth just comes out. Pew! Just cloth just bursts out of it. Like, I mean, I don't know.
What
the
about
fuck
you, Nick? What about you?
I was actually this entire time thinking of an actual answer, and I think it might be a lynx.
A lynx.
Yes.
Any sort of cat, you're fucked. Except for like the
Lynx are not very big.
Yeah, but claws.
but
Claws,
claws.
bro. The
Yes,
claws.
but
There ain't no laws when you're drinking the claws. You know what I mean?
but
Like I feel like
feet.
even like house cats. Like if they'll fucking. I
Dude,
guess
house cat will fuck you up.
I guess it
Dude,
depends on the
fucking
stakes.
Oreo jumps at me. Whoop! Just punch that shit. That goes down.
Dude, you piss off Garfield, that man's gonna end your life.
Man,
Literally,
you
Literally
that
gotta-
will
man's
break the
lasagna,
fabric
he'll
of
fucking kill
reality.
you.
Don't touch the fabric of reality,
Reality,
Garfield.
I'm sticking with lynx.
Lynx.
Yeah.
A lynx.
I mean, realistically,
What
it'd
just
probably be
inanimate object do you think you could take down, Nick?
inanimate objects.
A
Dude, a
chair.
copy machine.
A building, a copy machine, dude. The Smash place in Syracuse.
A copy
if you pay-
machine.
You
You
can
just,
pay
what, you just knock it off the
$60
table.
extra.
You just knock
Go
it
to
off.
So they opened a Smash room in the mall here, and for
I want to go to
60
that, by the way.
for $60 extra. I mean, you can have up to like 4 or 10 people in a room, so it's like for $60 extra, you can get a full size office copy machine
That you can just
will
break.
You
Yeah.
literally could just beat the hell out of it. And god damn it, I know what I'm doing for my birthday, baby.
Oh
2
my
days before I go to
God.
school, I'm going to that mall, beating the hell out of a copy machine, and then I'm going
Mom
to
just walks in like with like 3 GoPros on. I'm like, I'm doing something very important today, Mom.
He walks in 3 GoPros, but he's in an inflatable T-Rex costume. He's like, Mom, I know what I'm doing. Ferb, I know what we're gonna do today.
What we're gonna do today? We're gonna beat the hell out of a copy machine.
I just love like just Nick be like, yo, I could take down a copy machine, just like knocks it off the table. It's like done. It's like
I'll stick to fax machines.
I'm gonna take the bait when you guys. So if you guys were to beat the hell out of a copy machine in a Smash room, would you take a baseball bat, a sledgehammer, a small crowbar, a big crowbar, or a golf club?
Golf club
Sledgehammer.
is bad. Golf club is bad.
Yeah, no, I
Sledgehammer.
feel like the sledgehammer.
golf clubs.
I feel-
Golf clubs
I
are weak.
personally-
It's so hard to get that. Like, I want a baseball bat because it's
I
not
feel
too
most
heavy,
comfortable with the
and I could
baseball
just
bat,
swing
yeah.
with full
Yeah,
force.
well, it's one or the other, but it's sledgehammer or baseball bat. The
Well,
other,
I
the other
feel
are
like
weak.
literally just, I want to take out this much. And it just sits there, and so
Mark,
the bat would like bounce off.
Mark,
like
you
yes,
don't
it would deal
go to a
damage,
sma-
but
you don't, Mark. If I was to beat the hell out of a copy machine, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna do this limb by limb, paper tray. But it's like, no, I'm gonna just beat the hell out of the thing. till it's
Honestly, I
done.
play little league baseball. Okay, buddy. You
Nick,
know,
Yeah.
Nick plays big league baseball. Nick could do it.
I
Dude,
feel most comfortable
one of my
with the baseball
fears
bat, yeah.
actually, Nick, one of my fears in baseball, because like I played, like I feel like a lot of kids when they're younger, they play like literally like baseball or soccer or like basketball. When I was
a lot of
kid,
people used to be able to
karate.
say that.
well, yeah, but like I have this fear. I haven't played baseball like literally since I was a kid. I think like in an actual game, even like recreationally. I have this fear of if I'm the pitcher and if I throw the ball and the batter hits the ball right back in my face.
It happens
And-
all the time. It happens all the time.
Exactly. I don't want that shit to
You
happen
catch
to me,
it or
dude.
duck. If
Or
you're
I
a
die,
Chad, you
or
catch
I-
it. If
or
you're
I
a bitch,
actu-
you duck.
Or I actually die. I actually just.
Have you seen those? Have you seen those plays where a ball get hit back up the middle and like a pitcher is in their is in like finishing
And they
the
catch
throw,
it.
and they like back behind and like avoid
Oh
the
my
throw,
God.
Also catch it with this glove
Yeah,
like
that
behind
like,
them.
That shit's so scary,
That'd
bro.
be-
I'm
that'd
not.
be
Listen,
epic.
one of my little brother's teammates literally almost did it the other day. It just hit his glove and fell out.
Like,
He literally almost did it.
Like I would
he's not
never
a
pitch.
Chad.
I would never pitch because the ball's gonna fucking hit me straight in the face, and that shit like that, like you're gonna get hospitalized if that thing hits you in the head or in your face. Like,
Yeah.
that's a no from me. That's a no from
There's
me.
a lot of
Chief.
things you can get hospitalized for in sports. Honestly, I don't think baseball.
Well,
has you in
I
this.
know it. It's a
not
bit more of an
really.
irrational fear because the chances of that are very low.
Yes,
So,
and
like,
you also
but-
play little league baseball where no one could hit anything.
I know, but
so
I
don't
just
think you have anything to
but I've
worry
seen
about.
I've seen videos
Dude,
of
I'm
like that
hitting
happening.
dingers in little league baseball.
I,
let me
I've,
tell you.
I've seen videos of that happening in like in the MLB. So that's
Big
why.
Al, and I hit dingers.
That's why, dude. Looking back at those videos, like seeing little kids try to play basketball is the funniest thing because all the parents are like shoot the ball, and I'm like, I don't know. I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. I'm just
Dude,
like.
there's the video of that coach just swatting away his own team's shot because the dude was gonna score on their own basket.
Oh yeah.
All right, how long has this episode been going on? It's probably
How-
almost 3
how-
hours.
how
two
do
and a
you
half hours.
We've been going for 2 hours and 19 minutes.
All right,
Yeah,
I'm hungry.
No, I'm
This
done.
is I think this is
Bye.
definitely the longest episode we've
Bye.
done.
Here, I'll make it even
Well,
worse.
thanks for
Bye.
watching. Nope.
Bye.
Nope.
Oh no, he's gonna mute
Okay.
me.
Well, thanks for watching, guys. Everyone say goodbye.
Bye. Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Goodbye. Bye. Bye. Bye.